I'm Gail Weiss, the Chair of the Finance Committee. It is 6 p.m. On Monday, March 16th of the Finance Committee. I am here.
Dan Campbell's here. Bertie Parada present.
Morgan O'Brien is here.
Robin Vinnemat is here.
Okay, Matt from EMS is supposed to be here at 6, but he's probably on an emergency call and such, so we can take him in later if everything's okay. And then we have no minutes, so there's no minutes to review. Now, how far out is the person that does in the minutes?
Just this week.
Just this week.
So she has been sending in minutes. She's got a bunch last week for
Okay.
emergency services, so she's.
So should I even bother putting minutes on the agenda for next Monday?
Probably not.
Okay.
And then she'll probably send you a bunch.
I know there's a few that have to get put out because they're sitting down on the,
She sent them in, yeah,
okay.
for emergency
Okay.
services.
And next is the comments from the attorney in regard to the bylaw. And something about number or something, or being...
Yeah, once we're finalized, he's talking about the town codified our
Yeah.
bylaws, which means there's a
Okay.
codification system. So we don't have that written in here yet. So we will have to look at the numbering system, although we talked about it, and I think the town clerk's gonna move forward with an article that the lawyers are gonna write. There's a general article that you can write that allows town clerks to make modifications to bylaws that get passed for numbering purposes only. So
Okay.
that way you don't end up accidentally putting something in and then it gets passed as a bylaw, or if something new gets put in that should be in front of it and the numbers now need to change, you're actually changing numbers in bylaws at town. It gets very confusing. But there's a bylaw you can pass that allows the town clerk to make those changes. It's no substantive change to the text, but allows the town clerk to make numbering changes. So we may
Okay.
put that article on the town meeting warrant anyway.
Okay.
And that would become less of an issue than with this in terms of
Okay.
numbering.
And then I'm just seeing...
The only other thing he mentioned was putting in the appointment. You have to put in upon expiration of current terms. Otherwise, what happened when you passed this bylaw is that all of a sudden, everybody was off the board.
Oh,
Because it doesn't take into account that you have people on the board.
okay.
So he's suggesting that language so that essentially
Okay.
you keep the 3-year staggered terms, and as your term comes up, it then gets
Okay.
reappointed under the bylaw.
Okay. I don't think
That makes
anything else, any objections to that.
I don't know either. I do have a question in procedurally, because the membership would go to 5 voting members. Would it be that we are 5 voting members and the chair is?
My term ends this year.
Okay,
Then it automatically goes down to the 5, so the only board that would change, would not be on it.
okay,
So that, it doesn't change the other. So there's no reappointment or appointment.
For him.
okay.
If that's what you're asking, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think I stepped into a term that also ends this cycle. So,
Oh,
I just want
well,
to check for
again,
me
so-
too.
So what that means is you have to be reappointed by July 1st by the moderator.
Moderator, yeah.
So
Okay.
that's fine.
I'll check on all the terms and
Yeah.
we'll be clear with the moderator on,
Were you filling a term for somebody?
I think it was just the way that the cycles worked out. This seat had
there was an empty
been
seat.
open.
Yeah.
It was NBC? Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
we've
it
had a
was.
couple,
That's right.
what was the gentleman's name that passed away?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. You
Oh,
had,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
there was a couple of seats that were
Yeah.
vacant. I think you
Yeah.
came into an
Was it-
unexpired term.
Yeah, so that's
But
how,
I'll get all the terms and then we can see who has to be appointed and
Yeah.
et cetera.
Well, it looks like minimal changes, and it looks like it definitely will have this on the town meeting warrant, correct?
Yeah, he didn't have any problems with the
well, the only
language.
other thing in here that was in here, the only reason why I checked this out before, not when I became a select person, because we're a small town, we're allowed to have some leeway with that.
Okay.
But since we're gonna go down to 5, I think we probably would just not worry about positions, and maybe it might not be a bad thing to not be on two different
Okay.
boards. So,
I did speak to him. He said generally, he put in the term generally, they don't serve on two elected boards.
Yeah.
But generally, they're precluded from serving specifically on the finance committee and the select board.
Yeah.
Specifically, those two boards, I know in Buckland, that was the bylaw, so you could have been on the planning board and FinCom, that wouldn't have been an
Yeah.
issue, but they are precluded from the select board and the finance committee.
So then do we want to just get rid of the part that says, however, any individual serving concurrently on both, blah, 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 and just get rid of that then?
Yep.
Okay.
And the reason why I even did that was because we're losing some people and we didn't have a lot of knowledge on the board, so that's the only reason why I even stayed. And the fact that I did check with the state field.
But you may want to change the first sentence too, I don't know how you want to word that. You'd have to say, members must be registered voters, members may not serve simultaneously on, are you gonna preclude all elected boards or any specific elected boards? How
Well,
did you
the
want?
original draft had members may not hold any other elective or appointive, except for unpaid, temporary, or ad hoc committees that do not have tax-funded budgets. That's what the original.
I think
was.
appointed is too strong because you've got all these appointed boards that would
yeah.
have nothing to do
Yeah.
with
Elected would
finance.
probably be a good,
Yeah.
elected board.
So just members may not hold any other
Maybe
elective
Elected, yeah.
town positions during
Or
the
is that
term?
even, I don't know, that's what you guys have to decide, how,
I want to just keep it to elected, not to have elected, to a person serving two elected, us and an elected board. Because who's elected? Board of Health, assessors,
planning board,
planning board,
board.
select board.
Library trustees, right? They're-
some of them.
Yeah,
Some are appointed, some are
Some are
elected.
elected, yeah.
School committee,
Just elected board, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Not
I
one
would say
come on.
elected.
okay. Because I mean, if someone wants, what Recreation Commission is appointed, so if somebody wants to be a part of that and be part of
I
FinCom.
think being strictly, they could be on multiple appointed boards. but
Okay.
I think we should remove the elected
Okay,
from that.
okay,
Flip side, you have members that are on other appointed boards, so, as
That's-
members.
that's true.
So,
so I'll change it and send it back to him. Members must be registered voters, members may not serve simultaneously on any other elected town board or committee.
I don't think we even need to say other, because we're not elected.
On any elected town or, board or committee. So make it that simple.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I'll send it to him and they
Okay.
need to clean up the language.
So should we wait till the attorney finishes up?
Sure.
Or should we vote on it?
And we're getting rid of the
Second sentence altogether.
last little,
So that's the only change I'm thinking about making, other than what the,
Number.
town council's gonna do.
Town council.
And that's gonna be numbered,
Right,
yeah.
and that's completely out of our
Yeah.
control,
Yeah.
yeah. And we're going with, none of us should hold other elected.
Well, since we're changing the terms, I think we should at least vote that we change the terms here, at least as a procedure.
Okay,
thing.
okay.
I think it's for, just to make sure that there's no questions of the
Okay.
proper legality. of it,
Okay.
by the way.
Okay, is there a motion to, in the new bylaws, to have members of finance committee not be on any elected
So we
committee
just put it as we amended,
As-
as it was amended.
as was amended? Okay.
I'll second that.
Is it, okay,
So moved, so
okay,
seconded?
okay, I think somebody, I think
Has it
Bernie
been moved?
seconded.
Yes, no, I think, what's that, Dan said, I thought Dan seconded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll just vote then.
okay,
Hey, Bernie.
Oh, it came off?
yeah.
first, because
Sorry
you
about
get
that.
at least you get your thing on.
Morgan O'Brien, aye.
Robin Vandermatt says yes.
Yeah, Weiss, yes.
Dan Campbell, yes?
Bernie Parada, yes.
We'll take it to the attorney and bring you back a clean edit and then you can.
All right.
Okay. So we were gonna start moving, we're
Capital
trying
items.
to recommend stuff in regards to capital.
think we discussed last week the UTV vehicle.
Okay, that
Do you
was,
want to go through all of them? Just let me know what you decide to
Well, that's
support
the
and not
first one.
support, and I will,
oh, the UTV?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's the one he got to support. Do we want a discussion on that one?
when are you talking about highway, or are you talking about?
Well, going highway first.
Yeah.
Going highway.
Yeah, we're
Right,
just gonna
highway.
go in order of
Right,
the.
right straight down your
We're going
list.
in order of this list here. Is everybody agreeable to this?
Yep.
What's the date on that?
That is
310.
to 310.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
Okay. Okay,
On the item for the highway UTV, I personally don't see this as a priority need at this time.
I would agree with that for this year, as far as we're looking at increases in things like our insurance, and other things we don't have any control over. So I think this would be something we can maybe forego and put it off for another year or two.
what about the, okay. I just, the roadside mower, I know there's the truck lift gate. Do you want to just address the truck lift gate right now? Just, because then the mower, or just,
Do you want to take a vote on each one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll take a
Okay.
vote on each
Okay.
one.
okay, a motion to finance, what was that with?
No, you're at.
Recommend.
You're on, UTV, whether you
Okay.
recommend or not recommend.
Okay, a motion to recommend the UTV vehicle for highway, and that was gonna be funded by free cash, or?
Yeah.
Well, no, that right now would be theoretically, all of your capital requests
Okay, well, so we just-
sit in the free cash
Okay,
column until you decide otherwise.
okay. So is there a motion to recommend the UTV vehicle for highway?
Can I ask a bunch of questions? Because what you just said was very interesting. And I'm looking at the highway stabilization fund a few lines down, with a motion to put $75,000 in it. Could we make recommendations to do something else instead? Like I have a note here that a UTV could in theory be purchased at auction for less than $15,000. Like if we wanted to, it feels squidgy even trying to explain it now, but just something to the effect of like maybe it's putting 16,000 in the stabilization fund and 15,000 earmarked for potential UTV purchase at auction.
We've never really done that in the past.
Yeah, 'cause
We've
yeah.
been mostly either go purchase or not purchase. It's
Yeah.
recommend or not. We don't start getting into, if you go to an auction, we'll give you this much money. If it's opening the door to just making it more confusing.
The only problem I see with what I think you're trying to do is that you have to identify the source of the funding in the approval. So if you put the money in the stabilization account, you'd have to have that vote first, and if that passed, then you'd have to vote it out in a second
Yeah.
article. You can't vote it contingent.
And also,
You'd flip the order and you'd say, oh, let's put money in this account, and then down below, if it passed, let's take money out of that account. Would be kind of how you'd have to do that, if I'm reading what
Yeah.
you're trying to say properly.
I think that is what I'm trying to say is let us. I don't recall specifically like how the highway department would like to use this stabilization fund, and so if
It has to go to town meeting.
see,
Yeah.
he can't use
He
it.
can't use it.
well, no, I know it doesn't exist yet, right? So like this is also contingent on it passing into existence.
Correct.
We were also talking about, and again, we probably come back to this because Matt's here, but we're also talking about just not creating a stabilization fund for every department, but keeping one stabilization fund and keep building on that. And then if they need it, we use some of that capital stabilization fund to to buy other things, trucks and that sort of thing, or something like this. But it would be done at either a annual or fall town meeting. So the fire department wants a stabilization fund, highway department wants a stabilization fund. Why don't we just create one capital stabilization fund? Huh? Oh, we do have
have
one,
it.
yes.
Yeah,
we
and
have.
just add to
And just
it.
put the money into that.
That would be my
And then-
recommendation.
I'm not a big fan of starting all these multiple stabilization funds when we have one general one.
Yeah.
It just, to me, just confuses things and just makes it more complicated for us.
And it
to
gets
accomplish.
competitive. I mean,
Well,
what funds?
I think the
Yeah.
difficulty becomes, especially since you had a capital stabilization account that had quite a bit of money and that has been moved into the EMS use account and for a whole host of reasons. And now your capital stabilization account that had over $1 million has 113,000 in it. So it would make sense to build that account maybe back up for all the departments. And then as you have your capital plans, you can look and you can use a portion of that potentially to fund some and borrow some. Like you could buy a truck for $200,000 and you could take 100,000 out of capital stabilization and fund 100,000 of it. It gives you that kind of flexibility between departments. If you do a capital stabilization account for highway, you can technically use it for anything when you vote to vote it out. So you could, yes, in theory, say, we've got $500,000 in highway capitals, but we need a police car. Let's take 100,000 and buy a police car. You can technically do that, but what's going to happen is you're going to get departments saying, hey, that's my money. That's
Yeah.
my money.
Yeah.
Right. And realistically, they can't do that. If it's a stabilization fund, you can, by taxpayers, can vote that out and
They
use it
can.
for other means. So it's really kind of they think it's a placeholder, but it's not really a placeholder. What you're doing is have a bunch of these different accounts sitting out there. Why not just have one large account, and then yearly you say, okay, people need something, we can take $50,000 out of the established stabilization fund to pay for part or of some of the
If you had
equipment
a
out there.
lot of money in your capital stabilization account and you wanted to go department by department, I could see doing that. But at this point, I think without having built back up the capital, not general stabilization, but your capital stabilization account, it doesn't make sense to keep watering these all down. So you got 75 here, 100 here, 50 here. I'm not sure that makes a whole lot of sense. If you had like 2 million in your capital stabilization account, and you're like, okay, maybe now we've got a little extra, we could start one for a specific department and you could start running their capital plan through their own stabilization account. But until you have that base, I'm not sure it makes sense to keep dividing the pie smaller and smaller at
So
this point.
could you explain the two, the capital stabilization and general stabilization? So what you can buy out of both, or
Right,
what
well,
can
you
use
can
for
always move
both?
anything out of anything with a 2/3 vote.
Yes.
So at town meeting. But originally, every town has a general stabilization account, every community does. Because the general stabilization account, the idea behind the general stabilization account is that's to save your town if something were to happen, some huge catastrophe, or mid-year, some big problem, or mid-year, and in the past they've done it, the governor has passed something called 9C cuts in an extreme dire emergency, and we don't know that those are over yet. The governor could go back and say, you know what, I'm cutting 10% of your unrestricted general government aid, everybody in the state. And now you've got a hole in your budget because that money's not coming in. So general stabilization was always meant to be the safety net of the town. You could go to town meeting and say, we've appropriated money for these pieces of equipment, these town operations. Let's take that money out of our general stabilization and plug the hole. So that's sort of sacrosanct. It's supposed to always be somewhere between 5 and 8% of your whole budget, maybe up to 10% if you want to go that far, but usually 5%. You should always kind of just keep it stable, keep it there. It's to stabilize the tax rate. That's why they're called stabilization rates. So your tax rate doesn't go up or down if you need something in emergency. That's all they had when I started here 8 years ago. And it had a couple $1 million in it. And I said, you need to take that money out, leave your general, and start a capital stabilization. That's the money you're going to move in and out to buy equipment, to purchase big things, to work on your emergency services building, to hire, that's where that money, leave your general money alone. Leave it alone, it collects good interest, just let it keep building. If you ever have to use it, there it sits, and it just sits there quietly. So the capital stabilization account was always intended to be the other stuff for town.
I know Pelham, they have a capital stabilization over. I know it would never get supported here.
Override.
Yeah, but
Every year they put
every
them out.
year, and they can go up 2.5%.
Yeah, that's a funding mechanism.
Yeah, that's
above
their
and beyond.
funky, and then they prioritize who gets what.
Yeah, and
But it
when I
worked,
worked in
yeah.
Buckland, they had a
Yeah.
transfer station stabilization, a highway stabilization, a police department stabilization. They had all of these individual stabilization accounts, but they took their 10-year capital plans and would fund based on it. So you have to look across. So your highway stabilization account, if you really wanted to fund a highway stabilization account, you take your 10-year plan and you say, this 10-year plan is $2.5 million. So every year, we should be putting in $250,000. I mean, that is what a capital stabilization plan would do for you, to the point where you could then start funding things 100%. Most towns, small towns, can't do that anyway, because highway equipment, fire equipment, they're your biggest purchases. So without borrowing, you're using your free cash every year,
Yeah.
and the equipment's getting increasingly larger and larger and eating up more of your free cash. The idea, and it's in the town's financial policies, is to take your free cash and to use that for your capital purchases and your capital savings, so that you are not putting those things on the tax rate. So the idea is to build up that account so that you can use it, because you're trying to keep those things off your tax rate and keep operations on the tax rate, capital off the tax rate, unless you need to.
Do you want to hear something scary? When I first started on this board, we had zero stabilization.
Yeah.
Zero money in stabilization. So we've come a long, long way.
Yes, no,
since
no,
then.
the town has done very well. I know Lois was the big champion,
Oh.
and she saved up some big money, but it makes sense to kind of now figure out a strategy, and I think that's what's in your lap today, along with funding mechanisms, which
Yeah, Matt's here.
here to talk about.
Okay, why don't we,
Well, we'll have to vote on to recommend or not recommend the
Yes.
UTV.
Oh, a
You're in the middle of a
suggestion would be, if we vote not to recommend, they can come back in the fall and look at used equipment, and maybe we'll, you know. we
Well,
can
the thing
fund
is,
it
that
then.
was, according to the highway superintendent, this was like a secondary, this is not a
Okay.
primary.
yeah,
And
Okay.
the thing is, we need to deal with primary things.
Okay.
To go with secondary or potentially what we're gonna do, get a
Okay.
backup this. And the other thing is, we have to remember, we've gotta be a little tight-fisted. Things don't look good coming down the road. And again, in Boston, they were complaining again that if there comes that ballot measure passed this fall,
Yeah.
they're gonna be cutting severely to communities for aid, because they're looking at a $5 billion cut to state revenues. So I think we need to be frugal, and we're also looking at between, increasing the tax rate and we have to think, that's how it's gonna affect our residents. They're looking at probably between assessments and tax rate, a pretty substantial increase in their property taxes.
Yeah.
So I just wanna say, you better be prepared
Oh, yeah.
for when we go to town meeting, that people are gonna be saying, what have you done to keep some type of
Okay.
fiscal, common sense control? Again, these are wish lists, but it doesn't mean that everything on the item, this wish list has to be funded. I think we need, according to Mr. Walker, his primary thing was the roadside mower.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the things that need to be replaced, things that are needed for daily
Okay.
use, that's the priority, and those are the things would fund.
Okay.
Things that are secondary, that are, might be nice to have.
Yeah.
I think we've got, with the fiscal situation as it is,
And
I
this- you
think
said
that's
as-
something
you
we
said
can
this
put
is a
off to another year.
secondary, Yeah, okay. So, are we ready to vote?
Yeah.
Okay. I can lead off. I, Gail Weiss, vote not to recommend the UTV for $42,000 at this time.
Dan Campbell says no to this?
Bernie Parada says no to it.
I'm voting.
You're not
to-
supporting it.
We're not
You say
supporting
no.
it. Just say, yeah, you can, or if you choose
Or
to
you say to
recommend
not
it, that's up to you. It's
Yeah.
your choice.
Yeah, I vote to not recommend at this time.
I, Robin Vandermatt, vote to not recommend the UTV purchase at this time.
I think we should go back to now, Matt.
Okay. Hi, Matt. You're more than welcome to come on up here. Oh, no, I saw you guys
I will
coming
email
down
Tom
south
and
on
let him know.
63 there.
Give him an update.
Okay.
What meeting is this week? 3, 4, 5, 6?
I don't know. All I know is the phone said to be here. I was here. I left. I'm back.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Well,
Nice to see
welcome.
everybody.
Thank you for taking time out of
Happy
your
Monday.
craziness.
Yes.
Okay, so we were working on, what we wanted what was it, more info on how, what was it, the subsidy?
The EMS emergency vehicle.
Were we looking at capital tonight? I
Yeah,
apologize.
yes, here.
I brought everything because I wasn't 100%
The
sure.
emergency
which-
vehicle.
The emergency vehicle.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. What we were looking for, more like pricing or?
Yeah, you've got quotes in
And
there.
funding.
Okay,
And you guys wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
funding.
Yeah, we're
so
gonna talk of how to fund it.
okay. The response vehicle, okay,
So everybody got, yeah, I think.
Okay, so we have the quotes here.
Okay.
So can you explain the quotes and what they represent?
Sure.
Timeframe?
Yep. So went out to quote from 3 different builders who build these vehicles. I actually requested a bunch more. Some didn't come in time, some are partial, but this is a pretty representative selection, I think, of the cost to build this vehicle. Excuse me. So I got you those. It's anywhere between $130,000 and $150,000, and there's some differences. I think I made notation on the quotation sheet on the front. One has a little bit longer warranty than the other. One is a local service that, just kind of is in perpetuity doing things and maintaining it because they build it right here. And then one of the quotes includes the radio equipment, which I think does need to be upgraded. The higher vehicle cost quote would require us to reuse more equipment from the current vehicle. So those would be the substantive differences, I think, between the vehicles. Otherwise, they're built on the same platform, which is a Chevy Tahoe. The reason for going to a Chevy Tahoe versus the Ford Explorer that I'm currently in provides a heavier payload, a little bit larger space, to be able to actually create the climate controlled cabinetry, which is what's needed. So right now in the car, I carry a very stripped down, minimal amount of equipment, which works. But on the days and nights, especially where I do 1, 2, or 3 different responses in a row, I have to come back to the station, restock, and go out, versus being able to carry just a little bit, not excessive, but a little bit more equipment. The Tahoe also will likely give us future growth, should last us a good 8 or 10 years with maintenance on it. It's got the good engine with a good track record in it. And I would anticipate this vehicle to serve our needs for whatever we need, from event staffing to emergency response to my ability to provide the support to the crews as we're out, just like I left your meeting before it even started to do. So that was kind of the reason to go for the little bit larger vehicle. There is a cost difference. I think it was, I don't know if I even put it on here, maybe $15,000 or $20,000 in chassis to go from the Explorer to this. This Tahoe platform also allows the upfitting a little bit better to make it autonomous, if you will. So right now the vehicle is wired with temperature sensors in it to start the engine to maintain temperature inside of it, so it does a lot of idling, especially through the winter. The hybrid Explorer would be able to do something similar, but would essentially just run all the time, and the hybrid module inside of it would manage the climate control. What I'm proposing to build with these 3 quotes is a specific sort of cabinet that's insulated and has its own internal climate control modules that'll run off the 2 batteries in the
That one
Tahoe.
what?
That's exactly what that picture is. It's one of the different designs. And so it'll be able to be plugged into a shoreline to use electricity rather than the engine, which will take idle time off. It will be able to maintain itself if it can't be plugged in, and just sort of charge the batteries as needed. So I think it gives us a whole lot better future proofing for this vehicle.
Okay, so ordering of one of these vehicles.
We are supply chain aside, because I cannot speak to what any vehicle availability is right now, even having called dealerships. We are looking at probably about a 6-month order date to delivery on the early end of this. So from the time we place the order, that is the optimistic goal from all 3 of the quoted vendors on here, to be able to acquire the vehicle, build the vehicle, and deliver the vehicle.
Now, is this like, I know with some of your larger trucks, is this like you get the chassis and then you build on top of
Nope,
it?
so they're actually gonna build inside of the vehicle.
Okay.
The proposal and plans right now actually include removing part of the rear seat.
Okay.
And the cabinetry would sort of encompass behind the driver seat and the rear seat and then into the trunk space of the SUV. And the cabinet would be built into it, bolted into it, inside the vehicle. All the lighting would be inside of it. And it would be, multiple layers of security for the medications and things. So it's not quite like we have to disassemble and reassemble, but the upfitters do basically take apart the inside of the vehicle, all the panels, to run the wires and then put it back together again.
And that price would include the equipment that's needed, your whatever.
So we're in pretty good shape. My anticipation is really the big piece of equipment that needs to go into the vehicle that we're due for replacement for would be the radio system, the communication system. The computer we have new with this vehicle, it still works fine. The dock can be moved over or add a pedestal and rewired. The cardiac monitor and all of the other equipment we already have in the car.
Okay, so just be,
So yeah,
And transfer some.
yeah, we would move
Okay.
as much as we possibly can.
and you
over.
said you already had radio, you'll need to add radio to it.
So we have a radio in the current vehicle. It's an
Okay.
older radio.
Okay.
Ideally, if we can do it in this purchase, because
Yeah.
they do all the wiring and everything at this time, rather than doing it in 2 or 3 years when we do it. If we can fit it within this quote, I'd like to put
Yeah.
new radios in. That'll also allow interoperability with outside of Franklin County, New Hampshire, Vermont, Hampshire County. I don't have that interoperability right now in the car.
You
So
don't
you
have a
look-
repeater in the car either, do you?
There is a repeater in the
There
car.
is a repeater.
Correct, which we would move if we can't replace with the new system. But because it was one of the original radio purchases, the radio only works on our frequencies here in the county. And there's kind of a workaround that radio service has done to make the repeater work.
Just to make this clear, this is a command vehicle, is that correct?
This is a response vehicle and command vehicle.
Okay, so explain what that means.
More response than command. Basically, the way we run Northfield EMS right now is with 2 people staffing an ambulance 24 hours a day. And if I'm not one of them, I am on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which means whenever we have a large incident anywhere, we have multiple calls running at the same time. We have critical medical calls. We call them high acuity, high severity, where we need extra people. I respond to those. Also, I respond the vehicle as an intercept to other services as part of our model. It's a lower cost to respond it, and oftentimes I can get there quicker and keep our transporting ambulance in service for the next call. So its operational capacity is pretty busy. I would say I'm doing probably 4 to 5 to 6 calls a week at a minimum routinely in the middle of my administrative time or operational time, day and night. And it really allows me to go directly to the point of contact, the incident, with all of the equipment necessary, rather than having to respond to the station, get the equipment, and go out, which
So-
costs time off.
This is not something you would transport anybody in, this is.
Correct.
Okay, this is something that you would get there ahead of start and evaluate and then call in, or it might already be called in.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I'm either meeting our ambulance or another ambulance on scene most of the time.
Okay,
And it allows me to start care of patients before the ambulance gets there. So we can bridge that gap when we have other partners coming to help us for multiple calls in town. It also allows me to get there for when we have EMT or BLS, basic life support level ambulance that's caring for somebody. I bring all of the advanced.
do you have a
equipment
place
to
to
them.
put this vehicle? With the other, your ambulances and do you have a bay where this goes in, or this does not go into a bay? Or,
It
or
does
what?
not go into a bay
Okay.
right now, which is also why the current car runs all the time for
Okay,
climate
all right.
control.
I was kinda, yeah.
Also why
All
I'm
right.
building it to be able to be plugged in so that it can operate off of a shoreline. And then also, not to talk building, but why I'm looking at trying to make sure that we have enough bay space.
Okay.
Because ideally vehicles last longer
When they're
inside
in-house.
rather than outside.
Plus, we only have 2 bays, we put the
Right
third
now.
in, it's an urban.
I know.
Is it worth looking at Quonset huts for some?
At this time, no. I don't
No?
know.
Okay.
No.
No, I'm just looking at something that'll take care of itself. So that
Okay.
I'll use the snow brush and I'll wash it every
Okay.
day. It'll be fine.
Okay, what were you looking at financing this?
So we ran a couple of models as the advisory committee, just kind of talking around some ideas. And I think ultimately what the real recommendation would be, or the best possible recommendation would be to use a portion of retained earnings to make a payment towards the vehicle, but ideally to fund the majority of the vehicle purchase through State House notes, which are at a very favorable rate, which we can pay off over multiple years. The payoff can still come from, correct me if I'm wrong, the enterprise fund
Yeah.
capital side, or can be written into the operations budget through the capital assessment, but it'll all be funded through the EMS accounts. Is that a fair way to
Okay.
say it?
Yeah.
And you had $150,000, and you're hoping that also includes your radios and that at that price. That's why it's 150, not what I've seen in here. Some of the quotes. Okay.
Correct, yeah, so
Yeah.
it's up to is what I would ask to be
Okay.
able to purchase or, what was the language, Angela? Purchase or
You're gonna
loan.
purchase or, right, we'll have the language, so,
Right,
and you put in like, I don't know, I'm just saying this, he's gonna decide and make that recommendation, like if they said $50,000 and then to borrow $100,000, and then you would do that at State House notes
right.
for
the
5
max,
years
5
would
years
be
for that?
20,000
Probably
plus a
5
little
years
bit of
for
interest
that
each
little
year, and
amount.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
splits up the 20,000 plus a little bit of interest coming out of his
Yeah.
enterprise instead of whacking the whole thing for $150,000
And to
in 1 year.
your conversation earlier that I was a fly on the wall for, I prefer, and I think the advisory board also believes that we would be best served not to drain the entire enterprise fund. Like I mentioned the other day before I had to leave, we're basing our budget for next year on a very conservative revenue amount, or I hope it's a conservative in that we outpace it and outperform it. But, you know, I think until we have years worth of real balance sheets and we can really figure out what the revenue is coming in, going through this route with a minimal hit to the enterprise fund for the vehicle, financing it over multiple years, we always have the opportunity to pay more in the next year if we outperform with our revenue and we have more retained earnings. But at least we would leave some retained earnings in the account, so that if there was a need, it would be sitting there rather than buying the vehicle just straight out.
Just to be aware, the initial purchase, if there is a decision to fund some of it by debt, we'll take a 2/3
It's a
vote.
debt vote regardless, yeah, for the
Yeah,
whole thing.
but once that's done, just to pay the debt, just simple majority in your EMS budget.
Okay.
Right, so and the only thing I think you have to do at this point is determine how much you're going to spend, because you'll say borrow the rest. And then you can talk to the treasurer and say, do we want to do 30 grand a year over 3 years and spend 60? Do we want to do, that takes you to 3 years, versus do we want to do 50 and do 20 over 5 years? Like, that kind of discussion I think can happen afterwards, but you have to appropriate the amount that you're going to spend first. So if you want to shorten it, say, for like 3 years, because maybe in 4 years out you want to buy an ambulance using the same methodology, you might say 60 and then do a 30-30-30 versus 50 and a 20-20-20-20-20. That's something you need to think about, because all you'll need is, you'll need that initial amount to be funded through the enterprise fund.
So the thing is, as far as doing, so everybody
Borrow the rest.
that's here is, the town is needed because if you're going to borrow, the town has to agree to borrow, but the amount is coming out of the ambulance enterprise fund.
The amount
Right,
for
the debt payment.
The
the
debt
down
payment.
payment and the debt payment will
Yeah.
all
Okay.
come
Right.
out of the enterprise
Yeah.
fund.
Okay.
Right.
Which is coming out of the ambulance, the enterprise.
Yeah,
fund.
contact center.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
Right.
So this $90,000 that I'm looking at,
that was the old one.
this is the old one.
Now you have the new one.
Correct. That
Bunch
was
of
in
them.
the fall when I was being prepared for all of this, and
Okay.
then we kept going, and winter happened, and prices went up, and I
Yeah.
went,
Oh, yeah.
Dare
sorry.
you be so prepared?
It doesn't pay to be
Okay.
early with this stuff, evidently.
Okay.
So we have to make a
it's
motion whether we
only
approve,
Yeah, just the one.
yeah.
That one's no good. It's a no-go.
Okay,
recommend
okay.
this.
This one.
Yeah, the 90,000.
Thank you.
I mean, 150,000.
150.
Now you see why I was so confused.
Too many vehicles, what's going on? No,
Oh,
just-
one quick question. What do you plan to do once you get this new response vehicle? Are you gonna be trading in the current vehicle that you- or returning to the police department or what?
So right now, my plan would be that we would just sort of keep the vehicle. We've invested in it. It's okay to run. We would use it for sort of short trip local stuff. For now, the police department can't reoperate it right now. It
Okay.
doesn't have a significant cash value, even if we put it on municipal bids. The comparable vehicles are worth a couple $1,000s.
What's it, a 2017?
It's a 2017
So you
pushing
look at 9 years, yeah. that's very
200,000
low value.
miles,
And
300,000
then when
miles with
then when it needs
idling.
anything, you say, now we're done.
Right, and it
Don't
has
put
some
it
rust
right
on
into
it, and
Yeah.
I'd like to just make it to fall or to delivery of the new vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Park it, and if we need something to drive to the store or something, rather than them taking the ambulance, they would be able
To
to
get
use
coffee.
that to get coffee.
So, I think, aren't the police retiring another vehicle if they get this other vehicle?
I
Once that comes in?
No,
And
I
we
think
just-
he's retaining it.
Oh, yeah, I
He
thought
said
so
he was going to- he was going to retain it.
Okay, well, odd discussion. I'd like to make a motion that we recommend,
All right, who's
Okay.
keeping the
Keeping
light
lights on.
fixtures?
All
That
right.
was not good.
That's a good motion, thank
Oh.
you. You agree.
Dan, you're,
That's a sign, is that a sign of approval?
We're getting all kinds of votes.
the guy upstairs is approving that, so that's all right.
Voting.
I'll make a motion that we recommend a response vehicle for EMS. Funds to be coming out of the EMS budget at a tune of $150,000, which may be either borrowed or,
And/or enterprise, part of their enterprise
Yeah,
fund.
yeah.
They're under, what do they call that? It's not free cash, it's their,
No, no.
Retained
it's
earnings.
Retained
Their
earnings.
their
or-
surplus, out of their surplus, yeah.
okay.
Well, combination of the surplus and
Okay.
undesignated.
Now you guys have to decide,
I have a meeting Thursday.
yeah.
I will bring them your blessing and recommendation. I
well,
will-
we haven't voted.
We haven't
yet.
voted.
And it hasn't been seconded yet, so.
Thank you.
Do we have a second on that?
I
Greg?
second that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? I always recommend the vehicle with combination of financing.
Dan Campbell says yes on the recommendation.
Bernie Parada says yes on the recommendation.
Morgan O'Brien says yes.
Robin Vandermatt says yes for the recommendation.
Thank you all.
Good
Oh,
luck.
So next, you're not
Since
out
you're
here. Yeah, you got the compression.
Oh, yeah.
Automated compression.
Then you're gonna still go for that. You did have a second capital request in.
I did have it. That was my if we have room. Right now, I think the responsible thing to do, because I have the two under contract, I extended the service contract that is covered until fall. Plus a little bit as far as the manufacturer's maintenance is, I would ask that we defer this request.
Okay.
To possibly fall.
And possibly bring it back in the fall, if
Okay.
that's acceptable, so that we're not biting off too much.
You'll
Thank you.
also have recertified your enterprise
Yeah,
fund.
so you'll have
So
an
you'll be
idea
able
where
to
you're
see
at.
where you're at.
Yes.
And what's coming in revenue and
I like your
stuff.
thought.
Again, thank you for that, appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank
No,
you.
that's,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you for
Being
bringing that up.
responsible.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll move that off to the next folder that I now have to start for fall town meeting. Thank you very much.
I'm here to help. Or hinder.
Gotta get through one before I can start another.
Yep.
Thank
Anything
you
else for
so
me?
much.
We were
Nope.
okay with the operating budget and
Yep.
thank you. I
Yep.
know I ran out the other night, but
Yeah,
that was all okay.
Yep.
Yes, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you all for all your work. I appreciate
Thank you for coming back and returning. to-
Anytime. You know how to call me. It's an easy 3 digits.
No, I hope I
thank you.
never have to.
I hope so too. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Okay, now we're on the,
Truck lift gate,
Yeah, truck lift gate.
that could,
go ahead.
That was not another priority issue for him either. That was. I
wasn't that a
didn't-
safety issue?
It was a safety issue more than a price,
Safety.
yeah. That was more of, yeah.
Yeah.
It's lift, getting stuff up,
Yeah.
it's a lift basically on the back of the truck. Safety in, you don't have to lift it quite so high, there's a bunch of stuff like that, so.
Yeah, because you're talking workers' comp too, if they're lifting things instead of having.
All right, well, if that's, like I said, I didn't recall, forgive me, the safety, but
Yeah.
if that's more the issue, and again, it's just the preventing workers from throwing out their backs and getting hurt and saving workman's comp, then I believe we should recommend it.
Okay. Is there a motion, what?
But, Morgan, you had any question?
I was going to ask to rearrange everything. So I was going to request if we could discuss the stabilization fund and then come back up, just because I want to understand the opportunities that we have. If we're just not going to recommend it, then that I think determines some of the thoughts that I'm having about these other items and their funding sources.
Well, I agree with you as far as the stabilization. I think that if he's looking for this, we could put it in the capital stabilization for that purpose. Whether he's used it or not, as far as he's looking, I think what he's looking for is a large ticket item sometime in the future. And what I think, not taking it all out stabilization, I think we're going to use some stabilization and maybe some borrowing in the future. But that's, I think, the reasonable way of doing things.
I agree.
Okay. So did we already agree to the, I'm going to get off subject, to the fire stabilization?
The fire stabilization was
Passed.
approved at town
Last
meeting.
meeting,
But there's
right?
no money.
But there was no
There's no
funding
money, there's
mechanism
no
for it.
And
funding.
they didn't request any.
They said they would potentially request it this coming fall.
Yeah, they haven't.
So, the only thing, my concern is this setting up of all these
Yeah.
this is gonna start a snowball effect that
Yeah.
every department's gonna start saying, I want a stabilization fund. And then how are we gonna account for it and monitor these accounts, I think is just gonna cause a lot more work and take time and effort and so,
And how do we divvy up the money?
yeah.
How do we?
I know,
divvy up?
I think this is just opening a can of worms
Yeah.
personally. We have a capital stabilization account, we have general stabilization, and now we're gonna start opening all these, cause again, I mean, fire asked for a fire stabilization, yet there was no funding mechanism. And to me, it's just that to create something without funding it is like, to me, I just don't see that, why should we even start down that road? We have done very well in the past of either borrowing if we had to buy a fire truck, or like we're gonna potentially look at this EMS response vehicle. I just think these capital stabilization accounts are just gonna be a headache, and we're gonna have each department trying to play off each other, trying to say, hey, I want a stabilization, I want
I
this
want to
much
hear what
money,
Morgan
I
had
want
to
that
say,
much
because
money."
you were the one that wanted to go down this road.
I guess I was curious to know, or like I want to think about a little bit. I just heard and have been sort of marinating in the idea that like our fire trucks and our highway trucks are our most expensive items.
Correct.
And so if it's an option or something for us to consider to put those into there, right? Like if we can convert the fire department even into like fire and highway, where we have just like all of this big truck money. I don't know if the departments would be amenable to that idea. I don't know if that makes sense.
I'm not sure that isn't what your capital stabilization account
Yeah.
already is.
Yeah.
And again, it's just creating more and more.
I mean, technically, other things can be capital, but generally, you're right, the biggest items are
Yeah.
gonna come from those departments.
Then like if that's what the capital stabilization account is doing, then there's there's gonna be like, what, $43 in the account if we're just taking all of these big dollar items out, which I think then,
The other thing too, you're looking at if you're creating a viable capitalization, stabilization account example for a fire department. You're looking at a truck at probably $1 million.
Yeah.
And how are we going to
Yeah.
actually, start, we'd have to break up money on our, budget to set aside for that, because we have the option of borrowing to purchase that vehicle, And to me, to set aside, I mean, how much are we gonna set aside? I mean,
Well, here's another thought. I'll take a step back even further. You had saved $2 million in capital stabilization. It got moved, some serious wind and rain coming in. It had gotten moved for the emergency services building and has been now moved into that account, which allows them for both the CMS process and the fire station to be looking at hiring consultants, OPMs, designers, and that $2 million that's sitting there should cover that for quite some time and also get you to the point where everyone knows those buildings are gonna be borrowings. They have to be. You're never gonna save enough money to probably build those outright. So the money that was going into that account was $400,000 or $500,000 a year. The plan I'm recommending is put it back in capital now. So here, we had 500,000 on the plan that is under you guys, which was on the tax rate. I'm suggesting that you take and do 400,000 and that you put 300,000 on the tax rate and take 100 out of free cash to lower that down from 5 to 3 to kind of not hit the tax rate so bad. But the point is, if you're gonna do 4 or 5 a year now and put it back into that capital stabilization account, now your $1 million, $2 million trucks are 3 years out, 4 years out on your own. And even if you then take part of it and then borrow part of it, now you're spreading that even further. So you could in a conceivably in 2 or 3 years, have a couple $1 million back in that account. Because we're shifting that money back to being the capital stabilization where it always was. I mean, that was my thought, is start putting that money. So this year you'd put 400,000. So you'd have $500,000 back in capital stabilization after town meeting if that gets approved. And then next year, if you do it again, sticking to that one account, you could build up $1 million in 2 years, theoretically. And then if they needed a truck that was $1 million, you could use 6 and borrow 4. Or, you don't have to use it all cash, but you'd have big chunks of money, like you're talking about, in that account. And you're not diverting it between 2 accounts. You can just then focus on what's being asked for
And
each
then
year.
it could be prioritized, whether it's select board or separate
Right.
capital committee, whatever.
So we have them individual. The next step is to take the stabilization account, and I think I do have one because I had an intern this summer who I made him do it. Put them all in one.
Yeah.
So I have a document that shows how they all fall.
And if you're doing that, you're gonna, if he wants $75,000 in his stabilization fund, you just put that in the capital stabilization fund, and you started building it up
Well,
anyway.
look at it this way. The capital stabilization account, if you did 100 now, 400 this year, and 500 next year, we'll have $1 million in. At 70, and if he buys a truck for $750,000, technically you could have it in 2 years. If he goes $75,000 a year, that's a 10-year savings.
Yeah, it's not
I'm not
happening.
saying you're gonna buy a $750,000
No.
truck. What I'm trying to say is,
No.
by doing that, at $75,000 a year, it would take him 10 years to get to $750,000. Doing it your way, if you chose that was the priority, you'd have it in 2. I'm just, the logic of doing them together and having those funds in big chunks seems, and then you can determine how you want to use them each year.
Again, regardless of where you put it, whatever stabilization fund you want to put it in, it still takes the taxpayers to vote it out of that.
Correct.
So it really
All-
doesn't matter if it's coming from a bigger pot or a smaller
you
pot.
just-
If you have it all in one place,
Well,
it's
if you
easier to
decide though you
control.
want to do a certain borrowing and you don't want to take it, then, but you might have to line up 3 stabilization funds to fund a project. It gets a little cumbersome to take that to
That's what I'm
town
afraid of,
meeting.
getting too cumbersome with this here.
And you're not penalizing other departments by doing that, because they had the same opportunities to use the stabilization fund.
Correct.
You're not, and the other departments won't feel slighted because, they have a stabilization fund, why can't we create one? So by using one well, we get two, but one capital stabilization fund, that makes it easier to give everybody what they want,
And for
maybe.
you to track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For
exactly.
you to track
Yeah,
what the
exactly.
big purchases are, what you're saving and what you're gonna spend them on.
And
And
you
a
can
longer.
have a separate committee review those requests to have that money come
Which is
out.
what I make you guys do in the fall first.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why we moved all the capital, they used to
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
in, before you, they used to come in with their budget and their capital request in February. I'm like, no, now that in November, they're supposed to submit their capital request, so you see the big ticket items first.
Yeah.
Even if you're not gonna fund them all, you get a sense of what's coming at
Yeah.
you. And then they can talk about them at their meetings, but you can see whether this year you've got $300,000 in requests or $3 million in requests.
Yeah.
You can see it before the budget's hit.
I know a couple of towns I've worked for, they keep the debt at a certain level, and that way they're able to purchase the vehicles they need at relatively low interest rates.
And
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would love, I'll be happy after we get through this to show you what an amortization schedule looks like that does that. Because I used to do it in Buckland.
Yeah.
They had so much that they
Right.
borrowed each year, and then when some of them started to go down,
Yeah.
they repurchased something. And that amount, which we're doing it with the capital $400,000 or $500,000 a year into the capital account. You could certainly, if you started borrowing, shave that to $300,000 a year and $200,000 on your debt schedule.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
still keep the same amount in your budget. You could say, we're gonna put 3 away, and we're gonna borrow 2 each year, or be paying
Yeah.
on these things, totaling 2 each year, and keep the amount steady.
Relatively steady,
And as
yeah.
some projects come off,
You add,
the next one comes on, and you keep that level the
it-
same.
It's determined,
It's in your
yeah.
budget each year, this much we're putting away, because this is all we need for the bond. If these fall, then we put it away. That amount shifts, but you say, and it's in, if you read your financial policies, in there, it says you should have a debt level of the town of X percentage. You should have a debt level, the same as you have a stabilization level, so that you are keeping it steady and you're funding it each year, and you know exactly, more or less, what that amount's going to be each year, and it stabilizes in the tax rate, and then you can still keep up on your capital projects and your capital vehicles, rather than have them hit all of a sudden. You
and they're
you know,
built into your
all of a sudden,
budget.
you've got 5
Exactly.
vehicles because you
Exactly.
didn't buy them for 5 years,
Yeah.
versus,
Also,
that-
carrying some debt, though, is also a positive
Oh, yeah.
way, because
you-
again, you get basically a credit rating,
Yes.
which we don't have because we don't borrow at all and have no debt. So again, if we're looking for bonding, if we have again, a standing credit rating assists us in getting a bond, is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
and if you had, for example, borrowed to build the building, let's just go with an example there, you were putting away $500,000 a year, and if the debt payment was gonna be $300,000, you could have paid it out of the 5 and just been putting away 2, and it wouldn't have changed your budget.
Or yeah.
Everybody thought the taxes were gonna go through the roof, and the
No,
truth of
wouldn't.
the matter is, you were already spending $400,000 to $500,000 a year by putting it in your capital savings, it was in your budget.
Yeah.
We're just saving for a rainy day. So that brings us to, do we want to recommend a stabilization fund? First of all, it has to be created, correct? You have to
No,
create.
you
We
have
already
capital
have one.
stabilization account.
It's whether we
No,
want
no,
the
no, he
highway.
want, no,
Oh, the
highway
highway,
would have,
that's the-
highway would have to do
That's
that.
separate, you guys have to decide.
So they would have to
Okay.
do that. But I feel that what we should do is concentrate on one capital stabilization fund. Although we do have the fire department, we may want to talk to them and say, hey, we're gonna put it in capital stabilization, or whatever,
I mean, the account's open, but doesn't mean you have to,
yeah.
Well,
you have
can
nothing
we-
on the table.
Can we have, I mean, because I feel like we're recommending these departments have stabilization and then turning around and saying, no, you shouldn't. So I feel like we need to make a uniform opinion on them.
Well, yeah.
And then maybe like for the highway, because he's got some big expenses coming up within the next 5 years, 3 years.
Well, I think,
And where he's asking for things like mower decks and lift gates, and maybe use the stabilization fund for that, but at a lower amount. Instead of doing 75, do 30 or 40. I know it's all stuff that's gonna have to come out for vote at the town anyway, but
well, you could use, like you were saying, you could use stabilization funds if you've got this group of money, and use it to offset some of the costs and still borrow. So you're not borrowing, $500,000, you're borrowing $300,000 and you're paying two.
Yeah.
And and we're already, like she said, we're already putting money here and money there.
Right.
And the money that we would, instead of $500,000, $200,000 is going to pay off the interest rates. So in essence, the tax rate would remain the same. It's just that it's going to a different pocket, or not pocket, but it's going to a different location for borrowing. One for borrowing, one for, it keeps growing. And you use part of that capital stabilization as a tool to buy down the cost of larger equipment, but still borrow, but don't borrow so that it's a hit on the tax rate as much as it could be. However, if you're going to go to debt exclusion, which you'd have to do that for a building probably, right?
I would think
Yeah.
so.
Well, it depends. If you're debt excluding the payment, no. Because you have $1 million under levy. You have $1
True.
million under levy. So the question is whether you have
Yeah,
to
but
debt
we don't want to
exclude.
go up to our level, we can avoid that. Right?
No,
Well,
no, no,
you
but-
I
well,
know,
it doesn't
but
make a
no,
difference. You're
debt
still making the
yeah,
payment
that is
whether-
if you get over that, and yes,
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So if you can make that payment under your levy, there's some question about whether you have to debt exclude the whole project. Because
Yes.
essentially,
Yeah.
I mean, you still have to, you have to vote to borrow.
And you
You'll
have to have
always
that
to do
2/3.
Right, you'll always have to do that vote. But if you don't have to raise your levy limit, no.
Probably not.
You're already, I mean, you guys have a huge amount of
Yeah.
money you could be spending, but you don't, because obviously that goes on the tax.
Oh, yeah,
rate.
it will hit your tax bill like crazy.
Right, right, no
One
one's,
way or
no
another.
one's saying spend that $1 million, because then, yeah, people would feel it, doesn't, but you don't have to get an override or a debt exclusion, because you're already under levy.
So Robin's brought out a good point. Do we want to recommend to have, we got one out there, but one capital rate or not? And just have everything come out of that?
I personally, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
I mean,
I already have the capital.
yeah.
Yes.
Should we rescind that fire one at some point?
We'd have to talk to them and see
Okay.
see how they feel about it.
Yeah.
But we'd have, I probably won't be here for the discussion, but we have to explain to them that we actually have one and we're going to just keep growing it. And you will get a portion of that, not all of it, because what you might want to use a piece of that to offset the cost of the equipment, but then to borrow to make it.
Well, they also have technically it's not a stabilization account, but they have an account with over $500,000 in it, which they can sit on indefinitely. And it's up to them to decide if they want to spend the money or not. And I kind of like, why not? Because I had suggested that about why don't you move part of it, some of it, or all of it into the, if you're going to want to use it for capital stabilization, put it in there. But they are not amenable to
Well,
that.
the problem, you put it in there, then the taxpayers would vote it out, or have to vote it. But if they can use that then for anything they want at this point in time. A piece of equipment goes down and they don't want to go through the whole process of a town meeting, and they have the money to do that, then they could fund that. Then maybe
But they're saying they're hoping to save that for a building, so that could be indefinitely. So to me, is that they do have some funds available for which they can determine along without the town even saying anything.
yeah, to them
about it.
that's like a reserve fund for us as far
Yeah.
as doing that. So
But it's under their jurisdiction completely. We
Yeah.
have no monitoring or say in the matter, but it's a great deal of money. So that's why I suggested if they, were looking to use for a truck, maybe partial of that, to add, but
well, that's
they
something
don't want
that's
to. That's up to them to decide.
Yeah, that's something next year that we're
But
working on.
I think we should, we're going around in kind of
Yeah, we
circles.
can- let's
Let's have a
finish up.
vote on, do we approve, recommend, or not recommend a stabilization fund for the highway department?
Is that a motion you're making?
I make a motion that we vote on to recommend or not recommend the stabilization fund for the highway department.
I get away second.
Okay, vote. Dan Campbell does not recommend.
Bernie Parada does not recommend.
I know. But we're gonna bring him in here and explain to him why we're not gonna recommend it, if you want.
I definitely
Yeah.
notify him whatever choices you guys make.
You can abstain if you.
I
Abstain,
Yeah,
you can vote
I'm
the other
not-
way, that's up to you.
I don't feel fully invested one way as of this moment, so I vote to abstain.
Okay.
Robin Vandermatt votes to not recommend at this time.
I, Gail Weiss, vote not to recommend at this time.
But again, the reason we aren't is we want to create a capital stabilization fund to be used by all.
Correct.
Yeah,
Not separating, and because again, if you open the door,
Yeah.
police are gonna say, I want a capital stabilization for a cruiser. You're gonna have various other departments, EMS could say,
Yeah.
next ambulance, we want our own EMS stabilization fund. I just don't wanna go down that
Yeah.
road, that's just gonna complicate things,
Right.
it's just,
so then you're gonna have 20 of them, or
Yeah,
how
I
many
know,
big
that's what I'm
departments we
afraid of.
have, 7, 8 of them, and,
yeah. All right. I make a motion to either, to vote on, to recommend or not recommend the truck lift gate for the highway department.
Second. Dan Campbell seconds.
okay. Any discussion on that? I believe it's a safety issue, or,
I can tell you what he wrote.
yeah,
He wrote, I was just looking at it. Lift gate for back of truck for safety in moving heavy equipment and climbing up and down.
There you go.
okay,
That's fine.
yeah, that's
That's what he
fine.
wrote.
Okay. Are we ready to vote? I, Gail Weiss, recommend.
Dan Campbell recommends.
Bernie Parada recommends.
Morgan O'Brien recommends.
Robin Vandermatt recommends.
Okay, next we have the roadside mower. Now, is that a need, or?
Yeah, the other one was, actually, it was bought secondhand. He's been using it from another town. They used it together for a while, which doesn't always work well because you get too many
Right.
people from 2 different towns or 3 different towns. I'm not sure how many people were using it. So it has met its,
It's over 12 years old,
Yeah,
I
it
believe.
is.
It's
So
met its lifespan.
Yeah.
so it is a need more than a want. So I make a motion to recommend or not recommend the roadside mower for $300,000.
I second that motion for the vote for the roadside mower for the highway department.
Any further discussion? Was he going to turn back in the, or try to?
He has, trade-in, yes,
He's gonna trade it in, okay.
but he doesn't know what the potential value is at
Yeah,
this time.
that's true too, especially if you've got
I think
two.
he said was about 12,000, he was looking at potential estimate of the
It
value.
just says unknown on the sheet, but
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll get something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that goes
Okay.
into
but its
general
age
fund.
is gonna be,
Or we do it, if it doesn't, they won't take it in trade-in, we'll do it on municipal, and then the money will come to the town anyway.
Yeah.
We'll
Right.
auction it.
Yeah,
Way
they
to do it.
auction, yeah, or he'll get a discount or trade-in off his bill or something. Okay. Are we ready to start voting?
Sure.
Okay, I, Gail Weiss, recommend.
Dan Campbell recommend.
Bernie Parada recommends.
Morgan O'Brien recommends.
Robin Vandermatt recommends.
Okay, next is the police cruiser.
That was on a schedule, I believe,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yep, that's on his
Okay.
replacement schedule, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just a schedule, and I probably should put a motion out there. I vote to, a motion to recommend or not recommend the police cruiser.
I second that motion, Bernie Parada.
Okay, so was he keeping the other cruiser? Or?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
that's what you said.
Yeah,
according
okay.
to it.
Because he donated one to
Yeah.
EMS.
Okay,
So
Go ahead.
I have a question, because it sounded like in his presentation that this is sort of the tail end of an initiative to replace the vehicles that, like, to be more energy efficient or switching over to a hybrid. So I understand this to be the last of those trucks or those vehicles. Is that
He's been transitioning for the last several years from a standard gasoline fully gassed to I believe almost all the cruisers
I
are
think at
hybrid
least
now.
two that I know of are hybrid.
Yes,
Okay.
There might be
Okay.
more.
and
But
that
was this one gonna be a hybrid?
it's going to be a hybrid.
Okay,
Request the purchase of fully operational police cruiser and to ensure all our cruisers are standardized and safe. Northfield PD has maintained its goal of moving to hybrid cruisers and standardized all of the cruisers in the fleet, the estimated cost in the quote. And he says, we have not determined what is the best financial decision for the oldest cruiser. That decision will be based on the cost analysis of anticipated future maintenance, trade and value, needs of other departments for replacement vehicles. So he's not saying he might not keep it. So if he gets a good trade in, he might trade it in.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's
he
gonna look
said,
at the
at the
best
time he
financial
was here, he said he was
decision.
thinking of retaining it, but again, that's
Yeah.
a decision for him to, to decide on if he wants, he can get value for trade-in, but
any idea how many miles the
Trade-in.
cruiser he's replacing that old one has?
Let's see, he didn't say on here, I don't
I know they don't last a lot of miles.
I know,
well, he replaces on average, every 2 years, he replaces on a schedule, right?
yeah, there's a
Every
gap
2
here.
years
It's
a
like,
cruiser.
it's like every
Yeah,
4 years and then there's a gap or two and then
Yeah.
it backs up again based on age. There's like because it doesn't
Yeah.
come every year. But they never look high in mileage, but what happens is that electronics start to go because they
Yeah.
sit and idle a lot. They
That's the
run a
one thing.
lot. And their alternators start to go, the electronics are very heavy on a cruiser.
yeah.
And they start to go through the electrical system, because they don't drive as many miles as you would think, but they do a
Okay.
lot of sitting around.
Okay, 'cause like I know that when Hadley had Crown Vics, it was like after 80,000 they were used.
Right, which doesn't seem like a lot in this
Yeah,
day and age,
yeah.
but it's a lot of miles on a
Yeah.
cruiser.
A lot of times too, if they have 150,000 miles with idling time, they'll be equivalent of 300,000 miles.
Yeah, that's true
on the
too.
wear and tear on
Yeah.
the engine and the drivetrain. The other
Yeah.
thing too is hybrids are a little more expensive because they're more complicated. They're more complicated with wiring and computers and the battery and all this. So they're more expensive at the outset. But you hope that because of their fuel economy,
Oh, yeah.
that you're going to make up for that higher cost of getting a hybrid and that. But they are though more, based on my experience, from my former career, they are more expensive to maintain though. Base because again, there's just more electronic and wiring equipment, so that there's a higher potential for failure problems with that. But he has been transitioned the last several years to hybrids only.
Thank you. That's great context.
Yeah.
I see too in this capital project request form, which I think I have the right one from 11/11. Thank you. The estimated useful life in years for these new vehicles then becomes 10 years, whereas I see in the police department capital account spreadsheet, these are estimated at 6 years.
But we've been,
Do
we've
we,
been
like,
spreading them out a little.
can we then kind of push this, thinking about how we're gonna build up the capital stabilization account? Are we now able to spread these costs out a little bit more now that it seems, he's due for another truck in 2027, another one in 2028, and another one in 2029.
Because you have a 2021, 22, yeah, because
Yeah.
they're all backed up.
Because
Yeah.
Well, they fall in, yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess I'm curious to know, is this the vehicle that's going to be able to spread us out a little bit more so that we
I'll
can?
talk to him about maybe we redo the schedule for 8 years and see where everything falls.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah.
So we have a vote.
Okay, are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Any more questions, okay, Gail Weiss, vote to recommend the cruiser.
Dan Campbell recommends.
Bernie Parada recommends.
Morgan O'Brien recommends.
Robin Minomet recommends.
And could I stop you for 1 second? You're recommending them, but the funding mechanism for these are all listed as free cash. Are you good with that, or should we
Yes.
be
Yeah.
putting?
Yes.
Okay, because if you,
Yes.
I just want to make sure that I'm putting them
Are
in
we
the right
okay
place.
with the 300,000
Coming out
coming?
of free cash, yeah.
That
Okay.
it's listed there
Okay.
now. Yeah.
Okay, just wanna make
I
sure
just want to
there
make
was
sure
no-
I'm
if
also
anybody.
taking it from where you.
Yeah.
And realistically,
I
we've been
appreciate
taking
that.
a lot of the capital things out of free cash anyway over the years.
Yeah.
Generally, that's the strategy,
Yeah.
is to not try to put it on the tax rate.
Okay,
And not use free cash for operating, so naturally then your capital costs fall to.
okay, next is the decking for the transfer station.
So quick update, I don't have a quote on the decking, although they're supposedly getting me that, and you'll see I did manage to get one for the cameras, but supposedly a 3-quote sheet was done, I'm just trying to get my hands on it.
So would you
Tom
want to go
went
back
through
to
it with
this, that one? Because is it going to be more than $15,000?
No.
You think?
No,
Up to?
no, it's not more than,
Okay.
but he's supposed to be getting me the actual sheet for the call quotes. Tom said they did do them, they did call and get quotes, but
Okay.
I
Well,
just.
it's up to the committee. Do you wish to defer it so that you can?
Well, if we know it's going to be,
If it's gonna be under $15,000, I mean, you feel fine with that, then we can move on to the issue.
if it's not, what we can do is
It will be,
we'll
because
come back.
that request must have been based on their quotes.
Okay. Okay.
I'll get my hands on it anyway to get it. I like to
Okay.
keep those in my
You
books
just
as
give us a
well.
copy, just
Yeah.
for our own,
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
yeah,
reviewing, so.
okay.
All right, Dan, if you wanna move it.
I make a motion that we recommend or not recommend decking for the transfer station at a cost of $15,000.
I, Bernie Parada, second that motion.
I know we talked about it briefly before, and I think that this is not immediately relevant, but I know there was conversations about the transfer station budget and just making sure that it was lining up in expected ways. Is that organized?
Yes.
Okay.
There was some charging to the wrong account, but not the wrong
Oh,
amount.
yes.
So
We
the
fixed that.
town clerk, the accountant has straightened that out. So if you look at your most recent budget accounts that I send you, the expense reports, you'll see that it looks much better. He was
Okay.
just using the same account for everything, and she
Yeah.
has corrected that.
Thank you.
So it wasn't that it wasn't in the budget, it was just being
Misplaced, right?
put in the wrong
Oh,
account.
that happens quite a bit.
Yeah,
So you'll see if you look at the latest expense report that those are being
Yeah,
hit.
okay. So it's just
properly.
counting.
You're not going negative on one with all this money
Yeah.
left in the other, it's now actually much more balanced.
did they get any information on the fees structure and when
I
was?
can give you an update on that when we get to,
Good,
Yeah.
okay, that'll be fine.
Okay.
Right on.
We have to vote.
Are we ready to vote for the decking that's needed? Okay,
Dan Campbell says yes to recommending.
Bernie Parada says yes.
And Morgan O'Brien says yes.
Robin Vandermeer says yes.
Gail Weiss votes to recommend.
I believe they're looking at like metal decking from like one of those
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, they're looking at
that
metal
does-
instead of wood decking.
Yeah.
So the next one, I was looking at security cameras. The quote that you have here is larger than the $10,000.
No, you're looking, you have to burrow down.
Oh,
Because
okay.
there's
Because
two
it
different
involved
quotes.
highway,
One's
yeah.
highway, and then the second one is the transfer station, which comes in about 67, 68. And I think they were, by the time they get somebody in there to put them in, and by the time they purchase them, they were playing it conservative. It's like,
So the transfer would be the upper building, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, so it's
Okay.
below the 10,000.
yes,
6,440.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I was looking at both of them though. Both of them came to about $13,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
13.
they're about half and half.
So shouldn't it be $13,000 for?
Well, this is for the transfer station. Tom is either, he didn't ask for the money, so he's either
Okay.
doing it out of his own money, or maybe he's putting it off. He has some. He may be looking to replace.
okay.
Tom has had a camera system. I know that they're kind of old and everything, but maybe he's decided at this time that wasn't his priority.
Oh,
But
okay.
the second one that's in that quote is specifically the
6,000.
transfer
So
station.
well, we'll just keep it at 10, but it was only going to be 7 or so.
6,400, 6,500, but they know that they're going to have some wiring done.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't have anything in place right now. And then by the time you purchase it, it's always a little more expensive because we're talking now and it's gonna be probably,
How is the rat issue down there?
I don't know. I haven't asked.
They should go around to some of these big cities and they have these things all over the place. The catch the rats or to take care of that.
I'm
so.
sure that they're working on it because I'm sure they're not fond.
Maybe we hear like on Sundays, little bangs going on, maybe shooting them
You
or
ever
something.
see on, I think YouTube, I think I've seen it, they get these buckets, fill them with water, and then
Yep.
there's some sort of balloon and oats and stuff, and the rats go in there or whatever, and they fall in and drown.
What a pleasant thought.
I know. No way to get rid of them, though.
Okay.
I make a motion that we recommend security cameras at the transfer station.
Bernie Prada, what's that vote to vote on the
Recommend or not
recommendation or not recommend that item there?
I second that motion.
Who seconded it?
That was what
There's
he
a third.
did. I think
I
Bernie
think,
said.
I think Bernie tried to second that.
Because I didn't hear you
Okay, I
say
didn't hear that
recommend
second.
or not recommend.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Dan's the yes, and
Okay.
one, and Bernie's the two.
okay, so they've said, you guys have,
We moved to vote. Now we
Okay.
have to vote on it.
okay, are we all,
Okay, all right,
I've been at UMass all day. Are we set to vote?
yes.
Okay. I, Gail Weiss, vote to recommend the security cameras.
Dan Campbell votes to recommend.
Bernie Parada votes to recommend.
Morgan O'Brien votes to recommend.
Robin Vandermatt, recommend.
Okay, so,
I have a procedural question that does lead into our next point in regards to HVAC. So security cameras are now, if we vote to recommend, they are installed. Now, any maintenance for those cameras needs to be built into,
Their
Pretty
budget.
much.
Their budget.
Their operating budget.
Yeah.
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I would love to touch base with the transfer station folks again sometime before the next budget cycle, just so that we have uniform confidence that we know where
Thank you.
budget line items are sitting, and if they need to do any adjustments to their line items in their budget, we can do that
For maintenance and things like
before.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you'll get the expense reports every month.
Yes,
So
yeah.
you'll be able to
Yeah.
at least watch it yourself, but yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. A lot of times when you purchase these things new, they include part of the fee as the first year, and then you'll see it the next year that the fee to maintain is there.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, and I know that who was it? The fire department who came. They were
Unprepared?
they
Or less prepared, maybe?
their budget was still like being reconfigured, and I have questions about that in another moment. So I want to make sure that we get ahead of it
Okay.
before budget season, please. Which leads into my second question, which is in the next item.
HVAC,
Yeah, HVAC for town hall. Looking at this, does it make more sense for this to come out of the capital stabilization rather than free cash?
Well, that's if you want to take it out of current capital stabilization. We'd have to move it from the current capital stabilization balance, not your future one.
Okay. Which
Unless
would,
you did it after,
Which
again,
only-
put money in
yeah.
capital stabilization and then put this article after and then took it out from the capital stabilization. We do have a balance in capital stabilization,
yeah.
According to this, 106,000, so,
right? So,
yeah.
so you do have some money in there.
Yeah, but, yeah, it's like we'd rather put money in than take it
Well,
out
but
at
not
this
only that is, I
point,
mean,
yeah.
the question too becomes, I mean, right now, none of this is on the tax rate. So you're using it out of free cash, which is essentially so you would probably say, put that in capital stabilization and then take it out again. So it's sort of a
Okay.
little of a revolving thing. I think if a project that isn't funded from free cash, it might look like it's gonna go on the tax rate, is where you'd start to look at, well, do we wanna take that out of stabilization so we don't put that on the tax rate?
Okay. Okay, thank you.
yeah, a question everybody asks as far as doing that, what do we do with free cash? Everybody, sometimes during town meeting, they wonder what's going on. How come we don't use free cash to buy down the tax rate? We are keeping the tax rate down. We're buying it down every year using free cash, not to have the people raise and appropriate for, other things.
It's a very slippery slope
It is,
to buy your tax rate down on free cash.
yeah.
Because it's a one-time thing. Because next year, that cost that you bought down on free cash is still there. and now it's the next year. So unless you continually use free cash, it eventually will have to show up on the tax rate. And it's considered really bad financial practice to be backfilling your tax rate, because once you start doing it, you almost have to continue to do it in perpetuity, or eventually you will take the hit on the tax rate. Because that, or cut whatever it is you're funding. Because otherwise the tax rates,
Yeah.
somehow that's gonna have to be paid in perpetuity. So if you do it on operating expenses, then you either have to eliminate that operating expense next year, or you have to fund it again, or it'll show up on the tax rate.
Yeah.
So you're just buying time when you do that. That's why it's generally considered best practice to use free cash for putting it away for savings, like your stabilization account, or doing one-time purchases, not repeating expenses.
I know when, we usually use it for OPEB, savings of putting it into an OPEB account.
That can be, traditionally here,
Yeah.
they put OPEB on the tax rate, so it has always been
Been on the
there.
tax rate, yeah,
But yeah, in a good year, you could do that.
yeah. But this might be, once we decide what we
Yeah.
the town meeting will ultimately vote,
Yeah.
but,
Recommend.
yeah.
So
Okay.
somebody has to make a motion on that.
Okay, motion to recommend or not to recommend the HVAC / heating improvements for $26,000. Second,
Second, Dan Campbell, second.
okay.
I, Bernie Parada, so it's that,
Any
why don't we go to vote unless anybody else has something to say?
Anybody,
Dan Campbell says yes to recommend.
Bernie Parada says yes to recommend.
Morgan O'Brien says yes to recommend.
Robin Vandermatt says yes to recommend.
Gail Weiss, yes to recommend. Okay, the capital projects over at Northfield Elementary School. The first one is $10,000 carpet. Is there a motion to recommend or not to recommend the carpet for $10,000?
So moved.
Okay,
Second, Robin Vandermatt.
okay, but this is usually an annual
Yeah,
replacement.
This
These
is
are
an
annual,
annual
yeah.
thing due to wear
Yeah.
and tear at the school,
Okay.
because we've been doing this, I mean,
How many years?
forever. And
yeah.
basically, again, it's just normal wear and tear, so, and that's what we're doing. It's nothing, anything new or, a new project, it's just replacing what's worn out.
So with the formalization of the maintenance, this will then move into their maintenance budget.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be looking at higher ticket items than that, looking at windows, roofing, heating, cooling, that sort of thing, the major things. This is just making sure that everything is up to date a little bit.
So
We own the
here's-
building. Realistically, Pioneer should be doing some of this, but
Here's my question to you. Every year, traditionally, the town, well, it stopped for a while. Then it had gone to 10 and I got it back up to 25. On your education article, because that was pulled out of the omnibus, so your separate article, you've put $25,000 in as capital projects, traditionally. On top of these requests. This way, it's budgeted right now that this is the 25,000. Now, I can put the other 25 back in under the other article, or leave it this way. Because these are their capital requests. So traditionally,
So-
you've been taking all their capital requests and paying them out of free cash, and taking 25,000, putting it on the tax rate for other capital requests that come from them. And I'm questioning whether that's the strategy, especially if you're gonna start moving forward with a new committee that's going to start looking at the other capital requests, the other big pieces. So this is a funding decision you guys have to make. The 25,000 is not sitting in there right now, in Article 6 or whatever or in the school article. I can put it back in and put these two on separately.
I would like to move towards putting these on separately. so that we can understand and assess what the annual cost of maintenance for our town buildings is as
Well,
this
they are
committee.
gonna always go on separately. The
Yeah.
question is, do you wanna fund the 25 and leave that in there for additional capital requests from the school? Or make this the 25? So it'll still show as a separate warrant article.
Have they used any of the 25 that we've had?
They do.
And then plus what we've just allotted or thought?
Last year,
Well,
we settled up some capital expenses that had to do, I think I explained to you about that whole debacle with Eversource. We used 16 of the 25 to pay that, because we said, you guys got that, we're paying that.
so technically we're
This
putting away
year-
50 grand then.
This year, technically, we're
Yeah.
putting 50,000 towards capital expenditures for the school. This year, there, I think if you look at the budget, there's like 16 left, but Highway has come to me, they need to replace a cement pad that's down there around the drain system for 8 grand, and he was gonna ask me to put a separate article. I said, I think I'm gonna reach out to Gretchen and say, Gretchen, you know that 16 grand, we're gonna take 8 of it and do that capital project. So, you know, the question is, do they initiate that 25? Do we initiate that 25? But she has to come to me before she spends it, because we pay that bill. So it's kind of a question of funding here. We could put the 25 back in the article,
And then have it
and have this
23?
for 23, which we've traditionally done in the past. Or we could essentially say, you know, these capital funds, these are the projects here.
Well, the thing is, because we've denoted that these are for carpet, and I gotta redo the gym floor, it looks like.
Right.
And we've, usually it was carpet and painting every year, and then,
With
so
various
the,
little
so the
things.
$25,000 was for other things that were not kind of anticipated? Is that what it was used for?
Well, right, and I hate to say, it's one year they were sending me bills from Home Depot, and I went, that's not capital costs. So it had generally migrated to larger things. In the last few years, we haven't used all of it, because they generally are asking for their capital things. So last year, I sort of used it to pay off that old capital debt to Eversource, and I don't think we actually expended all the rest of the money. So the question is how you guys want to fund it, whether you want to put an additional 25 back in the education line item budget as a separate article, and keep this as a separate article, we always have had this, or do we want to drop that 25 and keep this as a separate article? I'm sort of seeing how you
So-
guys want to go on it.
So just,
So it's 50 or it's 25?
so that they can use any way they want, sort of, that 25,000, right? If you do away with that, and they come up with something that they need, then they go into our funds.
Yeah. Because if they have like a door bus, which they've had, or but something has to be replaced pretty
There's
quick.
always fall town meeting.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know, I'm throwing it out to you. I
It's
can put
it's
the
not a huge amount,
25,000
but
back
it's,
in. They also have quite a large PVRS capital request.
Yeah, I know,
this
they're
year.
looking
for
So I was
150
kind of
what?
trying to balance
Yeah.
the fact that there would be 50,000 and 83,000. I'm not saying don't do capital projects at the school, don't get me wrong. But now you'd have 50 going to the elementary school and 83 going to PVRS. And I think Bernie's trying to find a time for that committee to start meeting, and there's a list of projects on there. And they had carpeting in every year for PVRS. So now PVRS is throwing in carpeting. If you look at the sheet, I think
Which one you
the
looking at?
sheet for PVRS is
Yeah,
fine.
let me ask
We haven't
you-
gotten to it yet, but I just
let
wanted
me-
to.
Okay, I think we work with what we have here, and then
So
we'll think
it's-
about the other $25,000. I don't know if,
It's really up to you. If you want me to
yeah.
put it back in under the education article, I can do that. I mean, I'm assuming it's gonna stay. It'll either become 23 or it'll stay 25. I was trying to just equate the 25. It'd be a couple extra $1,000. If a door went, there would still be a couple.
Yeah.
Do we ever see any invoices for the gym floor being redone every year? Like, can we verify that that's indeed
Well, they don't
what's being spent?
They don't
Because-
charge us for the routine maintenance. For example, if they're just strip it and refinish it, this is, I think, is more work than that. They're
There's some-
talking about
There's some areas
Because I
that
feel
are
like
rotted,
they
I
do that
think.
every
So
year, right?
They're paying for that out of their
It's
operating.
23.
Yeah, I know, that's why this is
That's-
25, is because I was equating the 25. That can be changed to 23, or I could leave it 25, and 2,000 would be available for other capital, like say, had a door or a window.
Yeah, things do
So,
happen.
no, I think their stripping of the floor every summer has been their maintenance. This, what they're talking about, is a much more extensive job. I think it's a full, like, refinish.
I think if you look
Not
at,
just strip it and wax it, it's like a full sand it down.
and I think there's some repair that has to be done too, towards one of the exits, it was water damage.
Yeah,
So
so
I
I
don't know
think
if that
that
has to
this,
be repaired or
normally we do
replaced.
not see any bill for that.
Okay.
Any bill for this, any of this expenditure, I process the invoices.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So for the request for the carpet, that will come to me.
Okay, and the same with the gym floor, you'd get the.
This one, yes,
Yeah.
this gym floor, 13,000, that
Okay.
bill will come, because that's actually sitting with us. They don't get transferred that money.
So do you want to take these first and then discuss the $25,000?
So I just wanted to throw that out
Okay.
there so it's on your mind when you're
Yep.
thinking
Okay.
about these. But it's easy enough for me to put the 25 back in. It's just, I wanted you to know that I had done that. And then you guys decide whether you support it or don't. You can change it back anytime. But if you look at your pages for the school, it doesn't have the 25 in for 27. No, wait a minute, 6182, maybe it does. Let me maybe, wait a minute, let me look at the cover page here.
Okay.
I just wanna make sure before I say that. Schools. No, it doesn't. The 2027 request says 6074 on the
Doesn't
cover
have it in
page.
it?
So, no,
Okay.
it is different,
607.
yeah.
Are you sure? Because I'm seeing elementary school maintenance with 25 for the fiscal year 2027.
Yeah, on the individual sheet?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you look at the
You took it
request under the omnibus page, or the budget summary page, it's 6074.
Which is the amount that they the approved budget?
It's their request, I think, plus the Franklin County Tech. That 25 is showing up in the request, you're right, but it's also showing as an article, so is the 83. Those won't be there. I mean, the original budget pages show it, but they'll be pulled out for the article. That's just showing that. But if
What
you
was
look
that?
at the 6074, it's missing both of the two capital articles. When you go to the very first page. They show up actually in the free cash article. They'll show up in the special articles.
I think we should keep 25,000, especially where we're making the committee and getting ready to start doing some of this stuff.
You
That
might have
would be something you wanna
recommendations in
keep?
the fall.
So that would be something you want to keep in there, the 25?
I think it would be a smart idea.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Unless like, I mean, we can always wait and move it to the fall. I don't imagine we're gonna come up with a million things like that. so-
no, I think what you're going to come up with is you're going to come up with things that are be in the $200,000 range.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't expect you to be.
So $25,000 would
Yeah.
You're not-
And a lot of
mean,
this is
you know, you got a couple of toilets you have to
done
replace.
over summer break, so making them wait to fall.
I think, you
So
know.
I'll
it-
reconfigure it within there so you can see that change.
Yeah.
And then you can always take it out again.
Yeah.
So you're going to put that in there?
Yeah,
Okay.
that'll go in the education line item though.
Okay.
Oh.
So the
Okay.
free cash one will go to 23.
So is that a
Okay.
consensus of everybody here tonight?
Okay.
It's up to you guys, yeah. For now, you can also change it again if you want. You can see the effect.
Yeah.
Require a vote or just a verbal consensus from us?
Well, you're gonna vote the recommendation on the school thing at some point anyway, so.
So all we
If
do
you're
is,
good, I'll put it
if we're good
back,
on that, I don't
and
know,
then
is
you
everybody
can
else good on
see.
that?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So now we're back to the carpet and gym floor.
Okay. So we're gonna vote on these separately,
Now
or,
we can do it all together, it's one,
okay, it's 23,000.
Yep.
Motion for, well, we already have the other motion, I just said for the carpet. Do you want me just to change the motion? How does that work?
Amend it to be carpet and floor.
Okay, I, Gail Weiss,
that way.
amend the original motion to include both carpet and gym floor for $23,000, whether to recommend or not to recommend.
Robin Vandermatt seconds.
Yep.
Are we all
Approval.
set, ready to
Yep.
vote? Okay, I, Gail Weiss, recommend.
Dan Campbell recommends.
Bernie Parada recommends.
Morgan O'Brien recommends.
Robin Vandermatt recommends.
All right, and I'll make you the next budget sheet.
So the
you'll
only
see
thing
I'll have
now
made
is
those
manhole
changes.
covers.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
that
what, we're
would
gonna
be,
wait for PBRS to meet with the three-town,
But
because they're looking for $83,000 for,
From you.
yeah.
Because here's the list. I sent
Yeah.
you the list.
That's
of
the
theirs.
list.
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you, as far as I was looking at this, and I didn't see this on here, so
No,
this
the
is the actual
83
cost, this is our
Our portion.
Portion of
our
it.
assessment.
Correct.
our
Your
assessment.
$83,023 of this
Yeah.
request.
Are we better off waiting till after we meet with the three-town and vote on this next week?
Sure. I
Okay,
can
so we'll
go to the
postpone
meeting
that and I'll put it on
We'll
the
defer.
next agenda.
I think it's a good idea because again, you
Yeah.
have to hear what their,
Right.
what their feelings are on this, these capital items.
Okay. So that's on the next agenda.
Okay.
I'll put that on there.
Already
That's
voted
why
on
we can
that.
get feedback
I'm
and
not
then
doing that.
Yeah, no,
we'll
no.
be better informed. Everybody
So we just
okay
need the
with that?
sewer.
Yep.
Huh?
You just need the sewer manholes.
Manhole cover.
Oh, didn't we
manhole.
do that last time or?
No.
No, okay,
And again, it's coming out their enterprise fund,
Right.
so it's really.
Yeah.
yeah.
I make a motion that we recommend $40,000 for sewer manholes coming out of the sewer enterprise fund.
Robin Vandermatt seconds.
Any questions, further discussion? Are we ready to vote on it? Okay, I, Gail Weiss, vote to recommend the sewer manhole covers for $40,000.
Dan Campbell recommends.
Bernie Parada, yes, recommends.
Morgan O'Brien recommends.
Robin Vandermatt votes yes to recommend.
Okay, so we've done that, and we've been talking about capital present and future, or not necessarily, as we've been going around here, financing of it, so
Yeah.
that's been pretty much covered.
Yeah, I think that's been covered.
Okay.
And it's so hard with town meeting, unless somebody withdraws a project, you really can't take and say, let's take that difference and at least put it into stabilization, capital stabilization.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we, did we want to start reviewing the 27 town budget, or?
At least, are there any questions?
No,
Yes.
I mean,
Morgan has questions?
other than Morgan.
No, she should have
I
questions.
mean, go ahead.
No,
you,
no, no,
you
go
know I've got a
ahead.
few.
No.
No, go for it.
I think that there's some budgets that I'd like to revisit.
Okay,
I think the Council on Aging is probably one of the bigger ones to revisit. After our meeting last week, I was curious to know if the fire department has submitted an updated budget with their line items sort of reconfigured. I think hearing the Council on Aging plus the police at sort of the same time, I find those to be sort of, I have intermingled them in my brain in a way that I don't think
Yeah.
needs to happen. But I'm sort of seeing this sort of almost $25,000 that I want to understand a little bit more.
Most of that was the new assistant that she wants to hire.
Yeah.
So that was one of the bigger things that I did.
Yeah, the increase, overall increase in the rest of the budget was minimal.
Minimal.
That
Yeah.
was the
big
one
ticket item.
big ticket item they were, that the Council on Aging was seeking. Again, I mean, it's just, that's not normal operating expenses, it's, you know, hiring basically a part-time position. And again, that's a decision we're gonna have to say, do we, you know, agree with it or not? So,
I think I was also seeing, I sent a few questions off to,
Yeah,
Chief Hall.
yeah,
I had that sort of in the TA update, his answers, but if you want to talk about it as a budget department, I think I forwarded,
yes, you did, you forwarded to
everybody?
everybody, yeah.
there was one more thing that came in, he had forgotten to add Officer Cowan, who works Sundays. Forgot
That's,
that.
that's good. I was like, I was sort of mapping out who works when, and I was like, some of these days are looking light.
No, yeah,
kinda-
Officer he had Monday through Friday, and then he had Sunday, then he had a Friday, Wednesday, Friday, and he's like, oh yeah, John Cowan works Sundays.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Maureen, you brought up the council on aging. I think we, as a finance committee, should just make a decision. Do we, I mean, I don't think there's any other major questions about the council on aging's budget. The biggest question is, like I said, is the part-time position. And I
They
think,
did two things, they added the memory cafe.
yep, the 3,000, I
For
see that.
3,000,
Yeah.
and then the position. Yeah, those were the two big
Yeah.
changes for there, which it doesn't, I haven't added that in yet. The
Which one?
total still only, it shows the $8,000 increase, because I figured you could figure out the 22. I didn't want to,
Yeah.
until you decided whether you're supporting that or not, then I'll change that total. And it is factored in what you're seeing as the
Bottom line.
cover sheet, because I leave all the requests in until you've made a decision. So, when you look at the front page, that's factored in at this time.
I mean, I'm of the mindset that this one woman operation is doing an awful lot, and I think it's like if we can have $22,000 for her to be able to continue to expand these programs. It's definitely a hard pill to swallow on this one, but I see it as an investment in a program that serves a third of our town.
And it's only going to get more as we age, and no one's having kids right now.
Well, it's clear in our community that the majority is becoming senior citizens. And we're the tail end of the baby boom generation will be the largest group of retirees we'll ever probably see. So again, the needs of elderly people, we do run, let's be honest with you, the Council on Aging and the senior center is run on a shoestring. It's a small operation. We don't have a large facility like neighboring communities. We try to do everything in the basement of Town Hall here. And again, we have a large proportion of senior citizens. And I think that, in all fairness, I'm concerned about our budget, obviously, but I also have to be concerned about that we're being fair and treating our seniors and trying to care for their needs. My personal opinion is now I support the Council on Aging's budget with the addition of the part-time employee.
So should we vote and make a recommendation on the?
Well, I just wanted, if anybody else
Yeah.
had anything to say.
No, I was wondering, because we're looking for a new director, correct? And that new director
Yeah.
won't be hired at what the present director is. Is that correct?
I don't know that.
Possibly?
I
Or-
don't know
Or is
that.
it you
It's-
thinking that,
Our
okay,
current director was pretty experienced, and they had an upgrade in her pay just a few years ago to reflect that, so it's hard to say. I have seen, I have not looked at them closely, because technically that goes through the council. They have their, Council on Aging does their review, does their interviews. I have seen 6 or 7 applicants directly from Indeed, and just skimming them, there are definitely some qualified applicants. I'm not sure anybody's any more qualified than Colleen.
Colleen?
Yeah, and Colleen's got that social work degree, which is
Correct.
so important.
And I think there's some that have some experience and some
So-
degrees, but I didn't see anybody who was like, oh my gosh, they're so much more experienced than Colleen.
So here's my question. If a very good candidate comes in and you have to hire her or him at a higher rate, how does that get covered in the budget?
They have to come back to you.
Okay.
They'd either have to do it by town meeting, which they could theoretically, I'm not sure, I don't have their schedule in front of me, but I do have their schedule that we laid out for their hiring. But they would have to come back for funding.
Okay.
Yes, usually they'll go to the select board, and you guys would either have to do a reserve fund and then come in the fall and fund it.
Okay.
I can't imagine it's gonna be some astronomical number. I mean, Colleen is paid pretty well because of her experience and what she's brought to the table.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that, I mean, we're not looking at like, oh my gosh, she's been underfunded for 20 years and now you're gonna need 20 grand to get anybody in the door. I don't
think
think
that's
so.
gonna happen.
And the salary schedule is published from 1 to 10 when we publish it, but again, I'm not sure what Colleen's number is, but she's not at 2
No.
in the steps. So, you know, I think it's everyone's hope that it will be not a
So we
huge-
just need a motion to create that position, or is it already created, or just
Well, yeah,
support
you'd
it?
have to create it, you'd have
Okay.
to vote to support it, and they would,
That would actually,
it would create
okay,
it.
all right.
Do you want to hold, Dan, in abeyance this until they hire a new director?
Well, do we know what that timeline looks like for them to
Yeah.
hire?
It sounds like they're gonna
Well,
do somebody.
I mean, as far as,
regardless.
again, we'd have enough funds in reserve at the end of the year to be able to cover
Yeah.
that if need be, because you're not talking tens of thousands of dollars.
No, I'm just saying
So-
if you wanted to see, just to see what the person would be hired at, what we would have left of the money in the budget,
Yeah, but
just
that-
decide if, all right, this, or if this person gets in and says, you know,
Yeah, but that doesn't affect whether we want to have an assistant there.
Oh, good.
Time.
Well,
It
again-
does and it doesn't. You get-
or maybe too, you have a
Dollars.
new director who may have a different viewpoint of what they need or not need in an assistant too. Maybe we should give the new director the opportunity to make that decision.
They already have an assistant in.
They
there
have one
already.
assistant right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So there's
They're
two
looking for a
people running
second.
that,
Yeah.
plus
plus
volunteers that
Colleen,
are doing that. This would be a person that would take the pressure off of the director so that she can work with people either individually or in needs and do what she basically was hired for, rather than being, making, and again, the person probably still likes to do suppers and that sort of thing, or, but this person is taking care of the facility a little bit, helping out around the area, making
sure
sure
that they
other
do their
things,
meals.
taking the heat
Yeah.
off of the
Newsletter-
director, so the
newsletter.
director can
The
be a
newsletter
director.
takes a
So,
couple of days.
I think the position is viable. I was just want to make sure that, I was hoping not to hear the word come back to us, but I don't think that's a big issue, really. But I just wanted to get an idea of what the feeling is out there for hiring people at this time, kind of.
Well, the timeline, I have a timeline, is they're advertising right now. That's sort of the March, then they're going through their candidates. So April is they're gonna interview. That's their month to interview. So I think their idea is to hire by the end, or offer by the end of April, so that someone by the beginning
June.
of May, which is town meeting, is
Yeah.
giving their notice at a job. So, it'd be tight to change the budget number. I mean, we could do it if they needed more money, but,
You don't think that's going to be an issue, so.
because the warrant gets signed without a number on it. It'll just mean changing all the paperwork. But it could theoretically, if it was a huge number, be done. If in April, they have a sense of, we post,
Around middle of March, when is
we
it?
post, it's on here. We must
Pretty quick.
post the town meeting warrant by April 27th. But
Okay.
it doesn't have a number in it.
Yeah.
But, so by town meeting, usually the week or so before, so only a few days later, I will have the motion warrant ready to go, because I put the numbers in and we try to get that out.
Okay, so I think what we need, just a motion to create the position, and a dollar amount was already given for that position, I understand, around $22,000, in 24 hours per week was the description.
No, that was 19 because
19,
then you
19
get into
part-time,
benefits.
non-benefited
Yeah.
position.
Yeah, it was under, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 19.
Yeah.
So,
Because a new person is going to be feeling the lay of the land.
true. But
So, yeah.
Again, so what we need to do is make a motion to, I make a motion that we support the addition of assistant to the senior center. I guess that's all I have to do at the moment.
Okay. I Gail Weiss, second that. Any other discussion?
I guess my only concern is does this mean we're gonna be having a new director and a new assistant at the same time? And will the new director even want a new assistant? So I'm
That was the
inclined to
question I was
say,
asking, yeah.
maybe wait on the assistant until the new director is in and knows, because who's going to be creating the new position?
You can't hire this position till after
July.
June, till after July 1st.
Right.
It's not, it's in the budget.
Well, so my question, I guess, ultimately is who is going to be developing the roles and routines for the job description for the assistant position? The current director or the new director? And are they
good
gonna have the
question.
same perspectives on what the real needs are? I mean, obviously Colleen knows what she needs, but maybe the new director will have something different in mind once they see how the program runs and be like, you know what, no, let's do this differently. And what is that going to look like, I guess, which is why I would say maybe
So
wait.
what you're thinking maybe then is postpone until the fall?
Yeah, I'm not saying
fall
no,
town
I'm
meeting?
saying
Fall
wait
town
and
meeting when
see.
the
Yeah.
new director has a chance to come in and get their feet wet?
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think I agree with Robin, defer it.
Defer it.
Let the new director.
it's a great idea because Colleen is clearly very busy.
Yeah, no, I support the position, but again, it makes sense that the new director, we don't impose something on them and they may disagree with it or may not like, or may decide that there's a better option.
Right.
I think that, let the, new director come in, decide what's their priorities, and if they want that person, they can bring it forward to in the fall.
So you seconded, right?
Yeah,
Withdraw your,
I withdraw my
and
second.
I withdraw my motion.
Okay, so we're,
It was
With-
Gail
with-
who seconded.
Oh, you seconded
okay,
it?
yeah,
Oh.
I'll withdraw.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you-
But all, I mean, the money
Thank you.
doesn't come into place till July 1, that's,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think my thought is if we allocate this $22,000 now, what is the harm in not doing anything with it until November?
Well, what happened is,
Well, no, if you allocate it now, they'll hire right away. They're not
I
gonna
mean,
say-
No,
like
you
in the
can't,
July
yeah.
1st, in this, as, in the
Yeah.
budget as written,
Yeah,
right? If we just allocate this $22,000
yep,
and say, hey, Colleen, maybe like sketch out what a great job posting would be, but could you not post it? Wait until this person is hired, because to your point, let's not hire somebody to do a job that the
I don't
director
think-
does or does not.
I don't think
Yeah,
we
you-
have that
I
authority,
think-
though. I don't
Just
think we
know
can
that
tell
it-
them-
If
ahead.
you
No.
do it in November, the person won't start till January, probably, or late December. Because it's
yeah.
gonna be 6 months. Just because of the timing. By
Right.
the time you get the money in and then you advertise the job and then you
Well-
interview.
Could
and
we
then
fund it 9 months?
We-
And that way it gives the new person the
Yeah.
chance
I
to,
think the new
Well,
person's gonna be
you-
part of this
I
no matter
think-
what you do,
Yeah.
because they're gonna be on board
yeah, pretty
in
quick.
June.
I think what you want, maybe want, if you could do that, you create the position, you fund it, and then you let the new director run with it, advertise it,
Yeah.
and then do it that way. It's already funded, it's already sitting there. We're just waiting for the new
I think
director
the
to come
best
in.
thing, best circumstance actually to me is if the new director and the old director create it together, because the old director's gonna know why they're asking for it. The new director may not see any of that for months.
So then that person still wouldn't start for a while.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, the new director, they're looking to hire somebody in June.
But
So
they
if there's
can't
an
pay them till
overlap-
July.
Well, that's what they have to figure. I said, if you're gonna ask for an overlap in training, they have to come back to you and ask for that funding.
Yeah.
Because I told them that. If you don't have it in your budget, you're gonna have to either find it or come and ask for that. And part of what is they don't know what they're hiring at. So
Yeah.
they may come back with an ask in June and say, can we have $4,000 to pay somebody for 3 weeks? I don't know, but I told them that. I recommended to that they figure that out and come ask. But that won't be like we need 30,000. It's gonna be for like a few week overlap. So they have to figure that out.
So
They have to
are
know
you
that.
saying it's,
But they don't know what they're paying them yet, so they have to figure that out.
it would be better for us to create it and fund it now?
No, what I'm saying is
Okay.
it depends on when you want it, because if you fund it now, this person will probably start in July. If you wait till fall town meeting, they're probably starting 6 months later. I mean, you're not gonna vote
They
it till
may need-
November.
Yeah, they may need help right away.
So that's just a timing thing. I don't,
Yeah.
it's up to you. I don't. And we do have a person on board who's obviously recognized the need, so she's got something in mind, which you're right, the other person may want to tweak that, I agree.
Yep.
But they won't have been here long enough to even been through a whole,
Cycle of something, yeah.
Yeah, but you can always, if we find that,
I'm assuming they'll make
we
the
can
job.
always rescind
Well, I'm
money.
also
Well,
finding that they're gonna probably
Yeah.
make the job fairly vague and supportive, because
Right.
that's what they want is a support.
Yeah, this is a support person they're talking about, more
Right,
than anything else.
They got so much going on down there.
It's busy.
Yeah, it sounds like Colleen spends a lot of time as the social work aspect, and hope,
She's balancing time with people and in her office with trying to make sure things get out the door in the program aspect as well, but it's,
I'm just starting to think if there's enough time to hire both and get this running. I mean, we can create the position, we can create the funding for it, but again, you're really not going to be able to hire anybody until July anyway, right?
yes, absolutely not, because the money won't show up till July 1, no matter what.
So that gives her from now until June to get somebody in there.
Or to get the job
Hey,
drafted,
so-
but she can't, I wouldn't even advertise it till June 1st.
with a July.
Okay, so no, but the director, on board by when did you think?
I mean, they really have to kind of make that decision if they're gonna ask for a training overlap, which it's very hard not to. I mean, we're facing that with Sandra, but Sandra's also leaving before the end of the year, so I may have some money, because if I hire somebody at a lower, I don't know. I may be back asking for a couple thousand too, because, because I don't know who I'm gonna get, I don't know what we're going to pay them, and you can't ask Sandra to leave and the next day someone start. I mean, that's just, you guys have no
All
idea
right.
what that would do to this town. But I mean, I think they're also hoping that there'll be, a couple of weeks overlap. It's
All
very
right, you
hard
can't-
to,
So what do you want to do?
trust me, because I did it
What do you wanna
twice,
do, people?
walking into a new job.
Create the position, fund it, and then it's there? Then
It's-
somebody can be hired from
You can
June-
think on this, if
from
you don't wanna make this
July
decision
on?
tonight,
You want to think about it? Do it, come back to that?
Okay, I can do that.
Do you want to do that? No.
Well, we're gonna try to invite the COA back anyway, right? Is that what we're gonna do? Is that what we're talking?
having who?
The council on aging people back for their
That's up to
budget
you.
conversation? Is that what we were?
Well, you could invite Colleen back, and you can express our concern, not that we are against it, but we want to make sure that anybody new coming in has the ability to work with a new person, or have the opportunity to be involved in the whole process.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, right? I don't know.
I feel comfortable, I guess, yeah, to what you're saying, I feel comfortable recommending the budget as written, and then asking Council on Aging to come back and say, hey, we think this position is important and
You
it's
want to know your
necessary.
scheduling, and yeah,
Do you,
okay.
would you be amenable to creating this position in tandem with the person who is coming up next to make sure that this is an effective position, and if they are not ready for
Again.
this,
I'm not gonna do this to slap you down, Morgan.
no,
Be careful.
yeah,
This is operating.
That's true.
versus
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, you can't.
There's a
set-
point at which finance,
Yeah.
and this is a tug of war between finance and select board that's been going on since time immemorial. No, really, it has. I've watched it play out a million times. There's a line between make your recommendation and they operate it.
Correct.
You just have to be careful. So your idea of saying, I support it because I see the needed position versus come back and justify your position, tell me how you're gonna fill
Yeah.
it. There starts to be a,
Yeah.
No, we're not
the
policy.
Yeah.
We do not make policy.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
recommend.
Yeah.
there's
we
a
just
divergence
recommend.
there.
Yeah.
So
Restrict
I'm not
finance.
saying
That's
vote it
good.
or not vote it. All I'm saying is be careful to ask the council on aging to come back and lay out how they're gonna operate this for you, because there starts to be a,
Disconnect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fuzzy,
A real-
wuzzy
Gotcha.
line, yeah.
messy, it's a very messy
And it-
line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Then I with that in mind, I think that it still makes sense to recommend the budget as written,
So-
and I feel comfortable to do that. and trust the Council on Aging to operate as they need to.
So you're making the motion, correct?
Are we ready
Make
to
a
vote?
motion.
I mean,
Sure,
I can make the
sure.
Are
motion.
we adding
Sure.
to it, or are we
Yeah.
going back?
No, I would start with a new motion.
Let's do a new.
Okay,
To a clean motion.
I
Yes.
okay.
move to vote to recommend or not recommend the budget for the Council on Aging as written.
Is that with the extra, the addition, okay,
That's what was submitted.
okay. I just,
That's-
I'll second that.
okay. Any more discussion?
Nope.
Okay, I Gail Weiss, yay, recommend.
Dan Campbell recommends.
Bernie Prada recommends.
Robin Vandermatt recommends.
Morgan O'Brien recommends.
I don't want you to take that personally, Morgan.
No, I
But
don't.
It's a very
You had a question on
slippery
recreation?
line that
Yeah.
I
I got
want.
no, I don't, I
My
was, I
finance
just had all the
committees
budgets, in case
and-
anybody.
I was looking
Because
through
you really
the
do
budgets.
want
We
to
really have not
You really
had
do want to.
too
Yeah.
much of.
No, the, most of them are fine.
I reviewed most of the operating budgets as far as doing that. And the only thing that you can look at is things we don't have really a lot of control over. Insurances, salaries and that sort of thing. Nobody was really out there, even with the capital projects. I didn't see anybody really looking for pie in the sky. As far as the other budgets, they were pretty understandable and very little increase in their budgets without good justification. Some actually went down on their budgets. So I can't see us not recommending the omnibus.
And just know that I haven't technically seen the Franklin County Tech Assessment.
Oh, okay.
It hasn't been voted. I keep going to their website.
They were supposed to vote it that night, 2
I
weeks
don't know, but
afterwards.
if you can find it on their website, I still
Okay.
see the fiscal 25-26 budget.
I would
So
give them a
I'm
call.
not
Yeah.
completely 100% convinced that that is our assessment. I think it's high.
Yeah.
I voted the maximum number at the highest thing I thought was it. So that number might, I can't believe it's gonna go up. It might still be, it's still highlighted in my budget because I'm not 100% convinced. So if I don't see anything this week, I'm gonna email them and say, what is our assessment?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm only talking about the town budgets. I'm not
Right,
talking
right,
about
right. I just want
any
you
of
to know
the
when you
school
look at
budgets.
the overall
Yeah.
picture,
Yeah.
that
I
that
think
budget,
the
which is
school
a
budget will
big,
discuss
which
that.
is
Yeah.
a
We're
big
not-
budget number, it's an increase of 200,000,
Yeah.
might be off, because I don't have that number yet, 100%.
So again, I don't know how the other people feel about the rest of the budgets as far as doing it. Again, town budget. I didn't see anything that was really
I know you had some
huge,
questions.
but you had some
Morgan.
questions.
No, yeah, it sounds like transfer is sorting
Okay,
themselves
you all
through.
set with the police? I know you had some questions with them.
I am. Okay. Okay. Let me make sure that I understand.
Sure.
The police department would like to add 8 additional hours of coverage with a new part-time position.
yeah, filled
Their
out part-time.
budget does not reflect these 8 additional hours.
It was 24 hours of what they were talking about as far as part-time was taken up by, I guess, 2 people. And the 24 hours was not like one day. It was spread out through a week, is what I can understand. It was 24 hours, wasn't it?
Well,
Let's see. We got two part-time people. Next one, let's see what's the count. 11, 22 hours. Yeah.
Okay. And they were going to split those. Two officers were going to split that 22 hours. It's not, they were adding 22 hours, they're taking that 22 hours and split it in half. 11 hours, or whatever it was, is what I understood. It was like, what was it, like Fridays and Saturdays is what it was.
They currently have 2 part-time positions, and 1 person works Saturday, 1 person works Sunday.
Yeah.
In these 2 part-time positions.
so just to clarify one thing is, don't confuse how many officers are part-time with how many shifts there are.
Yeah.
He could have 300 part-time officers, if he's got 8 shifts, he's got 8 shifts.
Yeah.
Because, so he could hire 3 more part-timers, that, unless he requests additional shifts, like you're saying, that's the impact, regardless of who fills them.
Yeah,
So you do have the payroll sheet,
yes.
and that's where you would reflect any change. And that's where you're seeing the change in part-time wages. It went down in 26, I think he restructured things a little bit, and now he's bringing it back up in 27. Still not as high as it was in 2025, the request for part-time hours. But it's come back up,
Okay, so,
if that makes sense.
so they're redistributing those 22 part-time hours amongst different people, is what I'm understanding.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, yeah,
Cool. That
that-
makes sense to me.
that changes around. So he is asking for an increase in part-time hours, but whether he hires a new person to do it or uses current ones, I think that's,
A lot depends on availability. too.
yeah, that's, and they
Yeah.
backfill for vacations
Yeah.
and holidays too, so those part-timers are,
And some of these part-timers work for a couple of different towns, or college security or whatever.
Sweet, thank you, that's my questions.
yeah, because you can see that it's about, I mean, if you really, in the rough, it's about 18 for their increases for their wages, and it's about 10 in new part-time hours, is how
Yeah.
it seems to break out in the budget schedule. So he's really asking for somewhere around a $10,000, $11,000 increase in part-time wages. And the rest is the full-timers'
Yeah.
wages. You have to laugh. When I started, there was a number in the police officer wages budget.
That was it.
Was it? And I said, how does that compute? Took me about 3 years to actually make that number meaningful by figuring out who worked and creating this document, and so that the number tied to it. They would just up it by COLA every year. Because I don't think anybody knew. I mean, maybe the chief knew, but it was like, how did you get to that number? But now we can tie it in. So. I don't think anyone was doing anything wrong. I just think it had just evolved into present a number for your budget, and that's what they did.
I appreciate your work on this.
So it takes. I've got good chiefs now who are really interested in breaking it down themselves
Yeah,
and being accountable for their number, and I think it helps them organize their department
Yeah.
if they know what's happening. It's not. Any other budget questions that anybody wants to?
I just have a budget question. Looking at the fiscal year budget summary, I see you for the, this sheet here.
Yep.
I see that you have for the schools, and your recommendation was $6,074,581, and which is a difference of $383,400. Was that equal to what the percentage that you were looking for from the town for a increase in their budget?
So that breaks down to this page, and I want to go through and correct it because it doesn't contain the capital in there, and it didn't contain the 25,000, so that will come out there. But that number, the difference is the amount that comes up. Yes, it went up that much. So it's essentially the 200,000 for tech and 100 and something thousand for PVRS is how that.
Yeah.
But it had the capital in it. That's where the 83 is. So I'm not sure that number is. I just caught it myself and said, is the capital number in there twice? So I got to run that number again, because the big chunk of that number now contains the 83, but I think the 83 is also in the warrant articles. So
Oh, okay.
that's where I'm now going to check on.
Yeah.
Because when I go back, because my spreadsheets are already interlinked, but when I go back to my page that shows the number, the 83 is in here, but then it's also on my article page. So I just got to make sure it isn't double
dip.
dipped,
Yeah.
because that actually would drop that $80,000, which would be really nice on the tax rate.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've already made a note to check on that, because when I
Yeah.
was looking at but it would go up to 25, but it would come down to 23, so there's an adjustment in there. So when I've made all this and double checked it, you'll get it all out again.
Okay.
And that may be a change that we're seeing. There's too many links in this spreadsheet.
So in your model, what'd you put into capital, anything?
Well, I'm gonna put the 25,000 back on the spreadsheet for education.
Yeah,
Okay.
for
Page,
NES,
you
yeah.
tuck on the page, I'll put the
Yeah.
25 back in there. The article's gonna drop to 23,
Okay,
and I gotta see where that 83 is floating. If it's floating in there twice, which I
Yeah.
suspect it might be, it's actually gonna drop the budget.
yeah, because I
Not a
mean,
full
that,
83, because
yeah.
I'm putting 25 back in, but it'll help balance that 25 back out, won't it? So the budget may actually slip a little, because that 83 may be in there twice, but I'm gonna double check that,
Yeah.
and then all the article numbers that are feeding.
So what did you have to put into stabilization, anything?
For the, okay, well, you didn't go that far.
Okay,
You guys missed that one. So, yeah, so the recommendation normally is the 500,000,
Okay,
and normally it's been on the tax rate.
okay,
I was recommending that you maybe try to offset a year. Now, maybe we don't, maybe we pick it up, but that you go to 400,000 and that you put 300,000 on the tax rate, and you take 100 out of free cash. So instead
well,
of
we
getting the
just
budget
put
for
back
5,
in, if this goes through, $100,000.
I can run that model.
Yeah,
I can
'cause
run
you
the
just put
model by
100,000.
putting that and see the difference between putting the 100 back in and taking the 83 out, and see if that, because the capital piece is huge.
yeah.
The other question I have to ask is obviously what's the impact on the tax rate? The information you provided showed that
Yeah.
you're looking at a $1.23
Increase.
increase over the fiscal year 26.
Remember, that's high, but yes.
I know that's high, but you're still looking,
Yes.
what is, we're gonna have to answer probably questions from the residents of
That's gonna
how that's
change.
gonna obviously impact the average person's, taxes on their property. But the other thing is that the other two-part is, what are you hearing from the assessors? Is that their assessor, they're looking at property values also going up for substantially?
Not
So you're
dramatically.
gonna get a double whammy, the assessment?
I asked, not dramatically this year.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was
not-
my
it's-
concern, is,
Because a
I
lot of
asked
real
her.
estate has been sold, I don't believe, is that correct?
No, I think also that prices have plateaued a little bit. I think
Mm-hmm.
the housing market has
Yeah.
cooled off a little bit. That doesn't mean some people's won't go up, but when she's looking at overall averages, she's not seeing the spikes that we've seen in previous years.
Okay.
So that means that on average, people's homes should not be, unless they've done something, built a garage, put it, we can't account for that if you've
I'm
increased
just
the
concerned
value.
about a serious double whammy to the
Yes.
residents in our town,
Yeah.
between the tax rate and the increase in assessed value.
Right. But I'll run
How
this
much
all
was it?
again and send it
How
out.
much was it? Buck what?
Yeah, no, I did ask her that.
Yeah, I think it's important because
Yeah.
that's gonna be asked of us, obviously. And again.
And the other thing too is we're sitting on the verge of some serious new growth. But I can't put that in the model because it isn't
It's not
built yet.
completed, yeah.
But those solar
I
panels.
noticed what the solar field.
We have a pilot
Yeah.
coming in.
How close are you to negotiating a
We're pretty
result?
close. We've pretty much, the pilot is pretty much done except the last little piece where we're arguing per kilowatt hour, and we've kind of got a sense of that. So we're working on that with our lawyer and our
And
lawyers.
when
So
would
that
that-
will give us some new growth, which we can't reflect here because we don't have those.
When do you think that will come into play, next year?
It'll certainly come into play in the next tax year.
So that would be, that sort of thing,
That will help the tax rate.
that sort
I'm
of
not saying
thing
it's gonna
would be-
nosedive, but it will.
Yeah, the question is.
That would be awesome. Anything we get something from that we know it's gonna be every year the same amount? Is that what you negotiate?
We have a pilot, so we
Okay,
can see over
so-
the years how much, yes.
To me, as far as doing that would be a perfect thing to put into your capital reserve, not reserve fund, but stabilization fund. Just
yeah.
put that
Yeah.
into there.
You can?
We did that. We
can
did that
earmark.
with the college. We
Yes, you
did
can
that.
earmark your pilot.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you're allowed
so we did
to
use it for
earmark
operational
revenue
purposes.
We
to
did
go
not. We bought
directly
capital stuff
into
for that.
capital.
So that might be something to look at next year.
Yeah.
Get it started, see what that
Yeah.
amount is and how that would impact pulling that directly. Also, if this campground gets built,
That I understand is coming along because they're already prefabbing some of the stuff that I'm
and
hearing.
they've got, I think, they're working with DEP on their well, and once they get their well and water, then they get their stuff from Board of Health. That is also new growth because those structures are taxable.
Well, the other thing is we have to make clear to the public that this is the first solar field. There's that other one that's, I
It's not
in
quite as
court.
big.
Is that the
Yes,
one
in
down
court.
by the
That's 3
brewery
years
there?
away.
yeah,
Even
that's the other.
started.
I just didn't want people to think that
That's,
it's all the solar. It's
Well,
just that
don't worry,
first.
what you're making in revenue, you're paying in legal costs.
Yes.
So,
So, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so right now, I will go back to the 500 model. You can always cut it back down to 1,000. I'll put 400, because you have the room, I'll leave 100 on the free cash. So we're only
Okay.
putting 4 on the tax rate. I'll adjust the school stuff and make sure, if it doesn't look like I've double dipped on the 83, we might rethink the 100,000, but I'll put it in there. I think for some reason, I'm suspecting that
I
that's
think you
doubling.
did.
Yeah.
In my quick glance
Yeah,
of the
I'm
310
thinking,
workbook.
I'm thinking so too, because it's sitting on this sheet and this sheet, and that's where, yeah.
So,
Spent about 4 hours today actually proofing every budget against these, but I haven't done that piece yet. So
All right,
I'll update that.
so I think we'll have a better idea after Thursday how the other towns feel.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do the school next
So we'll do
week.
the schools are the thing we'll
Yeah,
probably.
and
our
I've got to
final-
focus,
You-
kind of
you're
focus on the
checking the
school.
tech
I'm gonna get
school.
the tech school in
Okay.
there, so we can kind of finalize the school piece.
Okay, so I'll put that
So-
on the agenda.
So,
Yeah, look at the school budgets and capital requests in depth and make sure that that's, tightened up.
Well, the tech also was modifying their budget by making additional cuts to their budget.
Yeah.
That they, that's been in progress for them.
Right, so
too,
that's why I'm
so.
waiting to see. I kind of did a high-end calculation,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not so sure that many kids are gonna be accepted from us. We've been high,
Yeah.
but if the kids are graduating and the number falls, that also impacts our assessment because it's per student. So I'm waiting to kind of get that final number from them.
so I think, well, rather than approving the omnibus this week, we'll get everything squared away next week. We can look at everything and maybe Pat, would that work with you? Get everything squared away?
Yeah, because I need
Okay.
to, I need to finish that budget book, and I have to get it to the printer by the end of this month, or we'll never have it for town meeting.
So if we,
But I've already got some stuff now that I can, now that you've kind of done most of the
Okay.
capital stuff, I'll start filling that pieces in. At least I'm getting it, and then when the final numbers come in, I'll do those pages.
so we should have all those gaps for like next week, probably.
So do
Yeah,
the
99%
the
of them.
omnibus, FY '27 omnibus and FY '27 school budget on next agenda.
I think, yeah, because,
Yes,
and that gives
absolutely.
everybody a chance to review. I've reviewed
Yeah.
Yeah.
it several times because I have time to do that.
It'll give us a
and
chance to hear.
Anything
from
that's
some parents, yeah.
glaring,
Yeah. I think we're pretty in good shape on the town side. I think the question is next week is the schools to finish up that.
the only thing you might want to do is because we just cut out like $100,000 off of Tommy, I guess, is see if he wants to come in and we'll explain to him what we're talking about for stabilization fund.
If he
Yeah.
chooses to do so.
And
Yeah.
the.
I'll let him know the
42,000.
recommendations and ask him if he wants to come.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If he
and
wants to.
tell him it's not that we're cutting it out. What we're doing is we're putting it in one central area.
Yeah. It's nothing concerning his department. It's a question of, like I said, we want centralization for the funds. And our reluctance also to open the door to every department having a stabilization account.
Okay, I've got to send him an email, so I'll kind of explain and then ask him if he wants to come in and discuss it with you.
Okay. So we ready to move on to town administrator update?
Sure.
Make it quick, I kind of had the police stuff in there, so we're good on that. I wanted to let you know the balance in the transfer station revolving is $4,895. That's kind of now with the
That's
recycling,
what-
after the
yeah.
building of the new building
Okay.
and the costs of that.
It's good to know that. That's not huge.
No, but
Yeah.
it builds up every year, a couple of grand a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were saving that, they had 60-something to build this new building, so. that
I
was-
just thought it was important to know how much so we don't
Yep.
spend
Yeah.
it down to nothing.
You have the camera quote, I'm still working on getting the other one, just to keep in my book, I like to have all of them as well.
Yeah.
So I got a Board of Health email regarding the transfer station fees, and I will read it to you. Bob came to the Board of Health meeting this evening. The subject, along with others concerning the transfer station, was discussed. The board is in agreement that there is no need to increase the price of either the stickers or the bags.
Okay.
The next time bags have to be ordered, Bob will come back into the board and we will revisit the subject.
Do we know when that is?
The bags do run out.
We do not. know when that is. I did ask Bob if he has an inventory somewhere to know how many
Supposedly, I
are
think
being used every year.
They're all filled with trash. No. I think they have, it's downstairs in the transfer station, I think now, that he's got them all stored. Or upstairs.
Yes.
one of the
How much
two.
did they buy initially?
Oh,
Well, you have to buy thousands because,
Yeah, I know, because we
well,
do
I
it
mean,
once
I
a year
had
at Shutesbury.
I did
there's,
sit with
there's
Bob.
only like a penny a piece to them. It's not bad.
Well,
Yeah, well, I'm saying though, is that they can't even remember the last time they even increased the price of the bags.
Well,
It's been so long.
I asked Bob how many transfer station stickers are sold every year.
I can't, well, about 800, 8,500,
About
850, 860.
Right. So we made an $800 800 person estimate times 20.
20 bucks, yep.
So I said, you're making $16,000 a year on the stickers, right? Because I was trying to walk them through. And then I said, how much are the bags?
They're $1 a piece, so $15 for a full
Yeah,
bag.
50, yeah.
15
I think it's a dollar.
Were they
It's
$1.50
15 for 10.
or $1?
Yeah,
15 for 10, yeah.
yeah, so $1.50
It's a dollar
bag.
$1.50.
a bag.
So I said, how many bags do you think every household buys in a year? Well,
Depends, yeah.
I said, there's 800, let's just say 800 households.
Well, I'd say
because maybe
two, say
people-
two per,
Yeah.
But
well, they
per
aren't
week.
coming in.
No, per week. So let's say every house, let's say there's 800 stickers, times one bag a week. Because some are
Okay.
going to throw 2 or 3, some are
That's
going to
52.
throw,
Times
right?
52.
So 800 times
Well, 52.
52 is 41,600 bags a year.
Well, it's probably, yeah, it's more than that, but that's okay, that's cool.
Times
you probably-
$1.50. $62,000. So it's a fair amount of money. But I said,
You know, and the thing
I said, go and get the real numbers, Bob. These
Yeah.
are estimates that
Yeah.
I could at least off the top of my head, if every household throws one bag a week away, then it's 60 grand a year.
Well, the question is, we have no idea, when was the last time they ordered? How much do they order?
And what was the total bill?
Yeah.
So how much are you paying per bag?
I know, yeah.
Do they
Those
get,
were questions I
not
asked.
like, have they ever been audited? Checked out what they,
Oh no, Dan. You're getting very deep in the weeds here.
you know, when he first came in and was talking about the stickers, I said, Bob, put it in a revolving account or something. And then if you ever need it, you get $16,000 to $18,000 a year to use. Again, you got to keep track of it nicely so you don't get it. But they'd have a Taj Mahal down there.
Yeah.
But it goes back in the general fund,
So
so
we
I can't really.
broached the subject and now we will slowly work Bob into hard numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just,
so say, how much does it cost monthly to get the stuff
may-
hauled that way?
It may be that we're overcharging as far as that, so who knows? I mean,
We're
Well,
not.
no, because
I
you're
know.
running the whole
I
budget.
realize that,
I mean, you're running the whole transfer station budget on it.
but, yeah.
So your transfer station budget is, if you want to look at the whole budget, it's number 400. The transfer station budget every year is $241,000.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're overcharging per se. So anyway, they went through it and I'm hoping
Well, they're
that-
offsetting that because
I'm
it goes
hoping
into
that
general fund,
we're,
so
we're
that's
gonna
cool.
continue to work on some analysis with Bob.
yeah, just try to just
you
get a little
pull
more
one of,
forthcoming with information, please.
And the thing that is upsetting me, I've heard, and I'm glad you're putting cameras out there. There are some residents in our town that are giving them a hard time down there, the arguments and stuff like that. No, I'm glad you're putting cameras down there to catch these people and we'll kick them out. They won't. They'll throw it at the side of the road.
So people understand, if they are in fact making $60,000 to $70,000 a year between bags and stickers, that's 1/4 of the budget.
Yeah. Do you want me to pull up a Shutesbury bag bill for ha-has and,
Shrewsbury, oh, they're small. Yeah.
yeah, because we buy bags about once a year.
Yeah,
and-
usually most communities would buy once a year
Oh,
because
no,
that's
we
what
were,
we do.
Buckland was much larger. We
Yeah.
bought every
I mean,
2 to 3
Shutesbury's
years.
not huge, and then
Because
we have
we
the
bought in
weekly,
bulk.
and we have weekly pickup,
Yeah.
but.
So we are working on,
Yeah, we work on it,
Yeah,
please.
I'll do that for her.
we will.
Yeah,
We'll see if
the
we
health
can
board
get
has to
that.
understand
I'll,
that.
I'll scan and email one to you.
We'll get that.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Anything else?
Anything else on your update?
Nope, unless you have
Okay.
anything you want to hear.
Any meetings attended by others?
Well, there was a really quick 30-minute EMS building thing.
Yes, there was.
The other day that was a whole lot of one person talking. It was very frustrating.
Yeah.
But the result
Oh,
was
you
they
mean-
voted something.
Are you meaning us or,
The EMS building,
okay,
the
yeah.
request for.
Yeah, we're, it's moving forward. They're
Project.
getting their ducks in line as far as doing that. Hiring, before anything can be done, you gotta hire somebody.
Yeah.
Yes,
You gotta
that's
hire
what,
the
that's what,
OPM.
that's
They
what.
voted to
They do
release
that,
the
so that's gonna be coming
OPM.
up tomorrow probably.
Yep.
So.
Thanks, Paul. Tomorrow? I'm working on it, I'm working
Well,
on it.
just be patient, because I was 7 years on that committee.
No, I am
and
working on, I have to get
Did
that.
not get very far.
Yeah.
Put it this way, we're further along, I think,
Well, you have an EMS director who's a little bit more,
Yes, EMS, I'm not
Fire.
talking yet.
a little more fire.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He's used to traveling in fast cars with sirens. I have to sometimes slow him down. Slow down, buddy. This is town government, we don't work that fast.
Yeah, he get put through the ringer a little bit, more so than I thought he deserved, but again, this is a starting point, people don't understand. You start with this and you see what you can afford and you wean down what you can actually do.
Yep.
The problem is when anything gets said and done, if they do have a building there and do it, it's gonna cost them exactly the same amount or more than it was when they first approved it. By the way, the building was approved. The building was approved for the fire, EMS, and police. What wasn't approved was the funding. So the people were for it, but they didn't want to pay for it. Just wanted, people thought that the thing got
And
shot
again,
down.
yeah.
It didn't get shot down, the money got shot
Well, the
down.
majority of the people did
Voted
support
for
it,
it,
it just
yeah.
didn't meet the
Two-thirds,
two-thirds
yeah.
for approval for the
Yes,
bonding.
More than 50%.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
other thing is, that is the second time that was shot down at town meeting. So again, but again, the problem hasn't disappeared, and the other problem is the costs just keep escalating
Yep.
and
I
escalating.
believe the first time it was shot down, it was a $7 million building. The second time, it was a $13 million building.
It was probably going to keep increasing.
If you're doubling, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think you're gonna get something cheaper, you're gonna get something with a lot less content.
My concern is you're gonna get 3 separate buildings. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Oh,
more
yeah,
than-
you're gonna have two separate buildings.
at least 2.
Yeah.
And you still haven't dealt with the police,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, that's been thought of.
Yeah.
possibly someday.
Yeah.
But the problem is then you get into
Well-
the cost of operating multiple buildings, which was
Oh, that's true, too.
Yeah. Oh,
unfortunately
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
2 computer systems,
Yeah.
2
It's
electrical
not an
systems.
efficient way of doing it. Most communities are going to building one public safety building instead of breaking them up. It's just so much more efficient and cost saving, but again,
Again, that's
So do what you do.
only been working on that, you were working on that, you know how long I've been working on that? 30 years.
yeah.
And we've
You
been
must have
talking
been a
about it for
tyke.
30 years, so. Anyway. I used to have darker hair.
Any other meetings? Okay. Public comment, I don't see anybody out there. Correspondence received, there was nothing in the box. There were any items not anticipated within 48 hours. And then next meeting, next Monday, same time, same place?
3-town meeting? has
Oh,
been
yeah,
posted?
3-town meeting on Thursday,
Thursday.
and I believe I
It's-
posted
Yeah, it's
that.
posted.
It's at Bernardston
posted.
Senior Center, 6
Yeah.
o'clock.
It's posted for
Yeah.
both committees, so.
Okay,
Thanks.
And actually, you requested it, so that was, we
Yeah.
better show up.
yeah. I am gonna be there.
I will
Yeah,
be
I'm
there.
not,
I will be
I'm
there
meeting with
too,
somebody at noon, but I should be done
And
well before
we'll
then.
talk to the select people too.
Yeah.
make sure
I'm
that-
shocked Bernardston didn't request one.
Yeah, I was surprised Jane didn't, and I know she was planning a meeting like last December, and then all of a sudden she went dead.
Yep.
Quiet, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So next meeting, we'll focus on the omnibus
that
budget
squared
and
away.
the school budget. Anything else that needs to go on there, because I gotta turn around and get this out pretty quick.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope, okay.
I make a motion, we adjourn?
Bernie Pratt, second that motion.
I go,
Ron?
Yes.
Go ahead. Robin Vandermatt says yes.
Morgan O'Brien says yes.
Dan Campbell says yes.
Bernie Parada says yes.
so we're done at 8:34, 36.
Hence,